through. And now what is possible because of this is that the side of Tropical can surround the cap and actually create crossfire angles.
I mean, you can see here Itox inching forward, but he's going to exchange spots with Timfed, so that means he cannot really go any further. Also, Ali is sort of cut off. If he wants to cross to the cap to deliver resets, he will have to let Conrad farm him, and there is only 20 seconds left.
But look
here.
at Viri. Look at Viri. Viri should be able to peek from behind that building and get a reset. No, well, not this one further. So there's gaps in those buildings over there. That is going to be able to get the angles on towards that cap. Actually, you can see there, Viri gets the angle. Can he get the reset? Yes, it was very close, but he did get the necessary reset. 25 seconds now, again, for Tropical here, and they're now still down a lot of HP though, Kihan. I mean, they have that extra tank they have, but the extra tank that they are playing with is a T100.
Yeah, now here we see Tropical having to commit into the cap to get some sort of resets, but they're getting farmed heavily for it. The HP bleed, crazy, 3.5k HP difference right now, and also White Rock now biting the dust here, the first one to fall. Yosi and Kapruk pushing off the cap, and Atiquel is in a dire spot here, down to a 2-shot. Vervi cannot help from there either with his 1000 HP. This is looking very good for Pozdro.
Yeah, I mean, the T100 paid off in the beginning, but Pozdro then adjusting accordingly. I mean, Ali is getting absolutely owned here by the side of Pozdro, and now they have just 4 tanks left standing for Tropical. It was an interesting opening that was very centered around taking out the bat. Pozdro with the right reaction though, pressure in the camp, not giving time to Tropical to utilize that T100 in a further way by flanking around, getting from behind, forcing them to make a commitment onto the camp, because I don't think Viri could peek that to reset again either. So then they were forced to push back in, and now you can see Pozdro well and truly ahead. And I mean, look, they're still at 113 at A4, Kihan.
Yeah, Never, well, he probably got some good shots off, but that was about it. He wasn't able to commit his HP to the fight. And yeah, in the end, the reaction by Pozdro upon losing the bat, that was actually what I would have liked to see yesterday from Campingplatz, because they sort of had a strategy as well where their initial plan didn't work, but then they didn't have a follow-up, whereas Pozdro reacted beautifully, putting the double IS-4 there and then forcing such heavy HP bleed onto Tropical. And to be honest, Tropical, they weren't really set up for a 2-cap play, I don't think. They were very, very heavily focused on towards the north side of the map, and then
But they really wanted to take out that bat shot, right? They wanted to isolate the A0 guy, but by putting that much emphasis on A0, they gave up basically every other part of the map, right? So to control A0 and control the potential repush and the angles, they have to give up all the crossfire on towards the south. And you could see Pozdro absolutely exploit this. I mean, yeah, they lost Kubash, but if you look at it at the end of the day, all that they did lose this whole game was Kubash. He was the only one. There was nobody else of their team that died. So their reaction was simple. It was good. Go into the cap, force Tropical to make rotations. I mean, yeah, Verbi could get a reset from there, but you also saw that he took immediately like 1,000 plus damage for free, which resulted into then having to repush into the cap, and Pozdro just had the superior angles at that point.
All right, so battle results. We see, yeah, not really a lot coming here from the side of Tropical. And yeah, Never was able to farm some damage, but I believe at least 2 or 3 shots of that were at the end of the game where he got pushed by the I7. So not even him having an impact basically from the farming position. And to be honest, sniping with a 113 is not one of my favorite pastimes.
I mean, shooting with a 113 in general is not really the most amazing thing to do. I mean, if you've ever played the 113, the gun can be very infuriating to play with, especially on anything past, I'd say 200 meters is where it really starts struggling. So yeah, sniping with 113, you are going to hit some shots. Obviously, you have heat as well, so you're not losing that pen on distance, but it's not really even about the pen, it's about hitting it to begin with. But yeah, it was an interesting start from Tropical. The T100 did pay off for what he was supposed to do, but I don't think that the positions that they lost in return for this play that they made in the beginning was really worth it. I mean, Neva was very far out of the fight, and even White Rock, who was the guy that went to push on A0 to kill the Bacha, was also very far away from the fight when the camper was already started. So yeah, getting Kubash, nice, but
I mean, even gaining that position in A0, it did not help in any way, shape, or form as to, really getting any kind of damage onto the people that were capping. So yes, they eliminated the position, but in the grand scheme of things, I think they baited themselves just into an overreaction with too many tanks in positions where it wasn't needed. And yeah, Postro, they saw that. They were like, all right, you got that unimportant position of the map that we don't really care about. So yeah, how about we just, force you to react. And I don't know, it seemed like Tropical didn't have a plan B after they executed their plan A and it worked, and then they were like, oh well,
Or
crap.
it wasn't even as much as Tropical not having a plan B. I think they know how to deal with the gap once that they have all the positions they want to for this possible North play. I think however, the difference is that Pozdro didn't just like freeze and was like, oh no, what do we do now? Our Batchat's gonna die. They immediately reacted, which is the sign of a good team. You're gonna lose one of your guys, you have to immediately make a reaction. We saw Holov needs to be amazing at this as well in this tournament and the previous tournament. As soon as you lose somebody, you got to do something. And Postro was like, okay, we go straight onto the cap. We set up the crossfire. They have nobody left in 1-2 line, so they can only come from this part of the city. We'll leave the 50B there to cover this as well. And then in return, we do so much damage. And yeah, Tropical had that extra tank, right? They had that extra tank, but counting in a T100 as a big damage dealer in a fight, it's not really going to happen, especially when he's 700 HP.
Yeah, I mean, the T100 in the end is not only lacking the pen or the gun handling, it's also just the DPM that's straight up missing. You don't have alpha. It is just that pure information tank that you're trying to play with, and with that information you have to try to generate advantages regarding positions, but the positions that were gained just didn't help at all. Now here we have some slight technical difficulties, but I believe the next games we are about to see will be delayed slightly, so we will be able to catch all of this basically. For the upcoming games, obviously we have now the sides being switched, and it will be the side of Tropical attacking. But so far, what we've seen from Postro on Ghost Town was just super solid. So I think
it's their strong map, right? Like we said in the map pick and ban, both these teams coming out with strong picks for both their sides. So they have Ghost Town, which was Postro's probably most dominant map yesterday against Campingplatz. And then we followed up in Mainz, which was Tropical, a very strong map against Invalgo. So would it be a surprise if we get a 2-0 here from Postro on Ghost Town? Not necessarily. But does that mean that much in a best of 9? No, it's in a best of 9. You always have to take into account that some maps are better for some teams than others. Losing a map 2-0 in the beginning isn't the end of the world. If you lose one more, you're not on match point already to face against. So on Mainz, they can bring it back, make it a 2-2, then continue on. It's a dynamic that's definitely possible in this match because of the maps that were picked in the beginning. Like I said, Ghost Town is a Postro map. They've done really well on it. But Tropical was amazing on Mainz, so...
yeah, they were amazing on Mainz, discounting that one play we basically had by Attila yesterday, but I think he has probably learned his lessons, probably quite a few memes going on in his team as well, and in the end they did win that match quite convincingly anyway. So yeah, just a footnote there. Now with the sides being switched, Tropical now attacking, do you think they will pull off some, all-in strap because they think they cannot compete against Postro in the long run, or how do you think that one's gonna go?
Well, from what we saw in the first Ghost Town run, it already looked like they want to surprise a little bit, right? They want to bring something to the table that Postro may not be 100% ready for. However, I think the T100 was a little bit of a giveaway as well, what could happen. I mean, when we saw it, I said it's possible North play. Postro didn't seem 100% ready for it, though, with their Batchat still committing to A0, even though that T100 was available for the side of Tropical. So it does seem like Postro may be able to get caught off guard by a potential interesting strategy. However, they did show that even when they did get caught off guard, they were able to reset rather quickly and make adjustments accordingly by going back into the camp. So yes, I think they can be caught a little bit by an interesting strategy, but no, I don't think they will fall completely to pieces to it. And we already saw yesterday as well, if you remember Campingplatz against Postro, they tried to do that cap play. Well, we'll just call it a cap play because I don't know what else to call it. That didn't really work. That was what we would class as an interesting strategy, one way or another, and that didn't work. So I don't know. I don't think Ghostland is one of the maps where you can really come up with something like a one-time gimmick that's really gonna work, unless you caught the enemy completely off guard. Like like I said yesterday, if Camping Platz did something like going on the cap and then keeping somebody hidden in K0, then maybe. But that's like super risky. Doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, and in the end, were they really caught off guard by this? I mean, yeah, they lost the Batchat and they lost a position for it, but the amount of resources committed by the team of Tropical for that was just so immense that they just could execute somewhere else. Now I hear that the games are shortly going to start, so I guess we're about to head into the map video once again on towards Ghost Town, the second game here. Reminder, the match is still 1-0 here, but in the best of 9, as you already said, not a lot has happened yet. I think Postro expectedly up 1-0 after this first round. We'll see if Tropical can take it back here.
Will they be able to take... Ideally, Doki, ideally you would like to see Tropical pick up around here, right? I mean, yeah, we said it's a strong post-draw map, but you don't really want to go down 2-0 either in the beginning. I mean, I did say it's recoverable, but it's the least preferred option. Preferably, they can win here around, but winning the attack on Ghost Town has so far seemed like a hit or miss for some teams. So Holovinitsy wasn't able to pull it off against Pepalos, but post-draw was able to pull it off twice so far.
And here we go. I believe we can hop into the tank lineups to see what Postro is going to attack with. And indeed, they're doing so once again with the quintuple S-Conk, 1 IS-4 and 1 CS. Tropical, on the other hand, I think they took inspiration from the team of Camping Platz, since they have a mouse, an IS-4, 2277, 1 S-Conk, 1 Batchat, and a CS. Now, the most interesting question right now for me is, what's the mouse gonna do?
The mouse? I'm not sure actually, Kian. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe used as a battering ram onto the cap, although that doesn't make sense.
Also, Postro still has more HP despite Tropical having a mouse.
Yeah, but that's because of the S-Conks, man. Look at it, like the 5 S-Conks. I mean, we saw both Postro and we saw also Holovinitsy play with this lineup, right? The very heavy S-Conk lineup, and that's a scary lineup to play against, man. If you're looking at it, right? This amount of S-Conks, this amount of DPM, gun handling, accuracy, pen, it has everything. It's very easy to make mistakes against it, and especially when you're playing with something like 277s, right? If you're playing with something like 277s against the S-Conks, it ain't all that fun.
Yeah, I mean, and with the S-Conk, you can even penetrate the shoulder plate of the 277, so the 277 cannot even side scrape properly against it. Now we see Attiquel through the 7-8 line, through that little dip here. He's trying to make his way towards the A-line to maybe generate a bit of map control, maybe spot out Kupruk while being hull down, so he maybe can't even be punished. I don't think he should commit in here. Yeah, he's not going to do that because he could get farmed on the cross by Yosi, and also once he's close to Kupruk, then the problem remains that the S-Conk, it has still the hold down, it has the DPM advantage.
You can't push him. Yeah. You can't push the guy on A4, it's not possible. When you try to push the guy at A4, you might think he's isolated, but you need to cross through A5. And when you cross through A5, you can get shot by Fed, Conrad, Yosi, and KPRK twice. So you just die for that immediately.
Alright, the mouse has finally arrived, so I guess we are about to see what they're trying to pull off with it. Maybe a cap shield, although personally I'm not a fan in 770 in this format here, to sacrifice basically a 7th of your team just to have a safe hold down to cap behind. Yeah, I'm still very, very intrigued, and I think indeed the cap shield
might still try to push A4 though. They might still try to push A4 with Ali and Attila. If you see over there, it's a CS and a 277. I think Itox is just trying to bait some shots, perhaps.
I don't think he's even spotted yet, so... also, the thing is, Kupruk is above him, so I believe from this angle, the S-Conk could even penetrate the mouse upper plate easily. Because it's not that strong, realistically, if you're above it. It's okay.
But look
So
at
the
it. It's
CS
a
is
277 CS push across the A line. He's getting boosted by Ali. Let's see if they take a lot of damage for this. But so far, so good. Actually, I think Yosi missed his shot. Conrad is still looking for it. So one connection only. This has been very successful for the side of Tropical.
Indeed, it has, and now also Itox so far trading positively against Yozi, Kapark being forced off the A4 reset angle, so far so good here for Tropical, who now have 3 tanks in the cap. Mind you, only 2 of them are realistically going to generate cap points, because the mouse will keep getting reset. Conrad from the side could come in here, but now they're inching forward a bit, so he doesn't have those cross shots available anymore. Yozi, once again, trading with the mouse here, but the resets onto Neva, and also...
Yeah, but Ali is farming Yosi on the side, though. Yosi is the one that can get the most obvious decaps here by peeking from that building, but Ali is the one suppressing him. But Ali also takes a lot of damage in return for them. Now, Verwi getting pressured, Conrad coming from behind, Pozdro up a good amount of HP here, and the flanks are coming in. I don't think they can keep this cap going. I think they need to change what they're going to do. They need to pressure something, but what can they realistically push from this angle? Attila is now pushing onto KPRK, but KPRK picks up Ali before that, and now Attila is not going to be able to 1v1 an Eskunk and this cap shield Gihan. It looked interesting, but again, committing 3 tanks in the cap, 2 tanks at A4 gives Pozdro so many extra tanks to move around the map, and you can see the result of that. That is that actually Pozdro has 5 tanks left standing and Tropical has 6, but they're down on HP though.
Yeah, Tropical trailing in HP now, and I believe the next kills for Pozdro should be coming in here shortly. Itox down to a 1-shot, and now Neva and Silent, they are trying to push here. Now we see the shot on the mouse. The kill shot not connecting so far, so I guess Itox is going to stay alive. The kill shot
there on the mouse not connecting, but Orchek is going to be able to finish it in return, and now the guns start dropping though for the side of Tropical. They are still trailing in HP, and now they're trailing in guns as well. They have no real approach, no real angle to assault on right now. Orchek is covered by Yosi, is covered by KPRK. White Rock can't really push Kubash because the Batchan is still not able to 1v1 a CS63 and really kill him. 2,200 HP. It doesn't really make it. And good shot there coming out on towards White Rock as well, making him 386 HP. Basically a 1-shot for the CS 63. So Kubash is going to be chilling there in a good position. Crossfire on. Very takes one from Kubash as well, who's kind of redeeming himself for the very first round here on Ghost Sound. Silent pushing across. He'll take 1 from DJ. Normally speaking, there he goes. He should take 1 more from Orchek even as he does. That's minus 774 HP. And every move that Tropical is making right now is getting punished by the side of Pozdro, who are just comfortably in a driving seat right now.
Yeah, I mean, KPRK now took 1 shot by Vervi, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to matter here.
KPRK takes 1 from Vervi, though. That's good from Vervi. Drops him down towards the 1-shot. Silent taking 1 in return, though, again from Orchek or Yosi.
I mean, we are talking
far,
about
Kihan, it does look
HP
like Pozdro is
2K,
making
right?
their favorites role here on Ghost Town to be working out for them.
Yeah, this is just, the ending phase of the game where Tropical is trying to do something, but
yeah, with 1 minute 40 seconds left, it is now Tropical that is just having a pretty big wall to fight against.
All right.
I mean, they have to somehow beat DJ, they have to somehow beat Kubash. The other 3 are pretty low in HP, but I don't think it's going to be working out for them, Kian.
Yeah, no, it doesn't seem like it's doing that currently. It's 1500 HP against 5k right now, and also the tanks are favoring the defenders, and the time, well, it's ticking down. Tropical just probably, at this point in time, taking their, just taking these last seconds, these last 60 seconds in this match that they have to deliberate what they're going to do on their next map. Realistically, there is no way into this match anymore. Let's not sugarcoat it here. Vervi not even getting the pickup onto Yosi. Obviously, Pozdro has some 1-shots, but DJ being as healthy as he is, and also Kubash with the CS able to run away.
Kubash can just run away the whole time, to be honest, if it comes down to it. I mean, Neva may be able to pick up a kill or 2 more here, but DJ picks up Silent in return. And it was interesting from Tropical, but you could see the difficulties that come with making this hard cap commitment, right? Having 3 guys committed in the cap, and the enemy team has 7 full HP tanks. And KPRK not getting caught on A4 either, smartly backing off back towards the hold down, meant that 3 tanks from Tropical were committed in the cap. 2 more were committed on A4. that leaves them only with really 2 tanks to cover the repush that comes out from Postro, right?
Yeah, and also I think one of the crucial factors in this game was that the A4 commitment that was done by the 277 and the CS, they weren't really able to damage the S-Conk. Like, the S-Conk backed up a little, he was still able to provide some sort of reset, and he didn't get damaged by that CS and that 277. They were busy farming the S-Conk that was close at the corner and providing resets onto the mouse. But the A4 angle, yeah, they pushed 2 tanks there, but it was never really properly cleared. So I think that was one of the issues that Tropical was dealing with. So yeah, overall, Postdro on, I guess, one of their favorite maps, 2 and 0, so perfect start into the match for them.
Not 100% a surprise,
No,
right?
no.
I mean, for us, it's not 100% a surprise. Tropical would have at least taken 1-1, preferably 2-0. But I think they also should have realized when this map came out that it's a high potential that they're not going to have a good time on it, as Postro, made it their first pick. And because we talked about the pick and bans, there's no bans to begin with, right? So each team can pick their strongest maps. So the first 2 maps should be the strongest maps for each team. The Postro picking Ghost Town and Tropical picking Mines, respectively, should be their strongest maps. So it's not a 100% surprise that Postro did this well on Ghost Town.
And here we see Ali in the CS. He was only able to do 2 shots of damage here. So
yeah, I thought he was doing more on towards that S-Conk.
yeah, and the 277, I think it was Attico being pushed up. He only did 3 shots of damage as well. The only one really able to perform and show up were Neva, who was in the cap and getting shielded actively, and the S-Conk, Vervi. Meanwhile, on the other side, I think it was KPRK in the A4 position. Not sure though. Yeah, but
KPRK was in A4. KPRK was the one in A4.
Yeah, so overall the damage spread very, very even for the side of Postro, but that also means that they were able to commit all of the Super Kongs into the game simultaneously and then just tear apart the enemies with the concentrated DPM from the S-Kongs. That's really the trademark, I guess, in these kind of situations. Now, Ghost Town, I guess, done and over with. Tropical probably wanting to forget about that one. We probably head over to the map pick and bans or to the next map video, as I see that the next game has started already. We are in for 2 games of Mines now, Daki.
Yeah, Mines between these 2 is going to be interesting. We saw Tropical on their defensive side playing very aggressive with those E5s, but they are going to be on the other side to begin with. I don't think they've changed anything in their lineup from yesterday. It's the triple 113, IS4, double CS, and an STB. And then Postro in return, double IS4, one IS7, one S-Conk, an UDES 1516, and a double CS. And if you're wondering already why UDES 1516, well, UDES 1516 has this thing that is called magical camo. It is basically able to drive anywhere and anywhere unspotted, because that camo is actually nuts, by the way, on that tank. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever checked it, but it has insane camo values.
I only ever played on turret with it. I didn't know it has this crazy camo. I know the 430U, if you put low noise exhaust, can also cross it without getting spotted. But yeah, first of all, the attackers Tropical, they are taking the hill, taking 1 shot of damage for their troubles onto White Rock in the CS. Ali once again in the STB, and I hope for his sake that White Rock has practiced the drop down in D6.
Don't have to remind him of this, Gant, of this possibility here. I don't think he will have practiced a few times since yesterday on how to possibly drop off the hill, or maybe somewhat he's not going to be the one dropping off the hill, as it seems that White Rock is going to be staying and it's going to be Attila dropping off instead.
Yeah, we're going to see. Let's have a look on the left. Attila in his CS seems to be down, judging by the minimap, and not down in HP.
No damage taken. Unbelievable.
Crazy stuff coming out here from Attila. And yeah, we see E1 now getting established by the side of Tropical with 1-1-13. There's a second one being rotated over. The third one still chilling in the middle. But yeah, the CS coming to support. Now, the UDES and the 113 in E1 exchanging spots. As you can see, that is not sure. Like, Neva is not in a committed position as of yet. So right now, I don't think Postro can... Oh, never mind. Hold that thought. Oh,
Oh,
Oh!
oh,
Ooh.
he made it. Amazing. Well done, White Truck. We're all so proud of you back home. I see one small opening here, by the way, that I don't know if Tropical would ever exploit. There's nobody spotting the actual two line, by the way. I think it was Invil Go or somebody do it once, where they, instead of driving over the one line, you drive next to the water so that they are not able to spot you early. Because I don't think DJ is spotting, I don't think the Uras is spotting that either. So technically, if they did that, I think they could get with basically 4 tanks into H1 without ever being spotted.
I think the IS-7 is sort of semi-peeking
No,
that from
he's
time
no,
to time.
he's sitting. They would be spotted past the cap already, Kihan. I think. I don't know where the CS is sitting in K1, but I think they would be spotted past the cap.
But the thing is, I think we saw that basically two-line push by a double 277, but at that time there was a 430U sitting in F1 for the defenders, and that one never really died, so the two-line push never really went anywhere. We'll have to see. Double CS now being rotated, I guess, not away from the west, but rather...
No, they're going to go under the 3 line to crossfire, because we saw yesterday what happened in Ketsai and I think it was Rexar when they both went there in their I7s. But here comes the 1-2 line push. Let's see how much damage Verby can take already to begin with. He takes 1, he takes 2, down to 1.7. But so far, it's a good ammo rack on the cross, though. Has to repair that one. 849 HP remaining for Verby here, but he is alive, and that's the thing that matters the most here. Whiterock is going to be crossfiring Kubash from behind. Can Silent, can Neva, can they pick it up here? They need to go get the CS first, but already Silent dropped to 1.4. KPRK is the target here, though. Verby is not really able to support, and here comes Yosi, the tank in support. If Yosi makes it across here without actually dying, then he is going to be able to clean up these 113s with his friends. Now Neva shielding Silent as good as he can. Yosi shielding KPRK, and it's a close fight here in the corner while Kubash is just having a great time in his Udas 15-16, just making shot after shot after shot onto the side of these 113s. Neva now, the last remaining survivor. He's pretty safe, I would say, behind those wrecks. But can he find an angle on KPRK? Because in the meantime, Attila is winning the 1v1 against DJ. And you can see White Rock coming down 1-2 line. Attila picks up DJ. And now the tanks from Pozro, they're starting to repush the middle, Kihan. Oh, and the fire on White Rock. He's going to die for this. He dies to Kubash. But now they are forcefully pushing in the middle. Not sure if this is going to work out well for them.
Well, they are pushing into a crossfire, and yes, indeed, that fire was pretty clutch here. And now Conrad and Timfer taking a lot of damage here, but as soon as they're on the hill, they can basically take positions. Ali with a miss here coming out by him, and now KPRK is going to get pushed both by Attiquel and Neva. Actually fluffs his shot here, so Attiquel taking another nice shot by the S-Kong from the back lines and going down for this. Now KPRK falling in turn, so this is basically a free-for-all right now, but Postro, they are ahead in the HP department.
Yeah, Pozro is ahead, and Fed is now flanking on Ali. Ali knows that he has to somehow do the damage on towards Orchek, so he's committing on that. He's trying to make the Eskung disappear. He's even going to try and drop from the hill, I think. But I don't know if he's going to die for this. Ali, he's the tumble survives. Ali, the athletic man, tumbling off the hill but living. But I don't think there's enough damage for them to kill Orchek.
Yeah, no, and Orchek also picks up Ali here after his little somersault, and now there's only 2 tanks left for the attackers, so time is ticking, and it's ticking in favor of the team in yellow, in favor of the bananas, and Itox, I don't think he can realistically get out of the drop down where he is in at the 113. It also really cannot make plays because the S-Kong is going to farm every approach that he will try to make, so Postro looking good right now.
Let's see if Tropical can still do something with this, but I don't think so, Kihan. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how they would approach this in a way that they can actually make this work. I mean, Conrad Fenn have the hill. Neva can't really cross over either here. He's going to take damage from Orchek. So what could they possibly do in this 2v3 that's going to work for them? I mean, look at that. Neva takes one from Orchek because Orchek has the upper position, and it's just going to be able to always lay down the crossfire. And in return, it's also the issue that they only have 1 minute and 20 seconds.
Yeah, 1 minute and 20 seconds, but I don't think they even have a dream of winning this here. Itox cannot move out of there without getting farmed. Yeah, he could drop down and go to the cap, but then Timfed and Conrad, they just come close and they just DPM him down. So once again, I think Tropical on their attack is left with picking up the shambles of their tactics and just being left with already thinking about the next game. And slowly but surely, we are starting to get into the range of the scoreline getting dangerous for the team in the green jerseys.
Yeah, this is dangerous. I mean, you would expect Pozro to win their defense, but then again, it's the issue of this is supposed to be Tropical's map, right? So you really want them to take 2-0 because of what happened on Ghost Town. They're not able to do that right now. And losing 2-0 on a map where you're like, okay, it's not really our map. It's fine. But then you go into Mines, and they had opportunities here in this game, but that fire on White Rock, they're not going to be happy about that one, for example, because that could have been a real difference maker here for the side of Tropical, like that fire crossing them as CS. And then I think also Attila, right, when he pushed in, he did take one from Orchek, I think. I think he took one from Orchek, and as a result of that, he actually died against, I think it was Yosi. Was Yosi the last one surviving on the island?
Yeah, I think that was the CS63 there.
Yeah, I don't know if it's whoever the CS63 was. So he took one more shot at Attila from the S-Kunk, I think, which I don't think was necessary to help Neva. And then he died for it as well. So technically, if you look at it, Tropical ended up at 2 times less than they should have had. They should have had at least White Rock alive, right? So they could have had either White Rock or Attila alive, but somehow they ended up with neither of the two. And if they had an extra time, they could have at least started the cap. Because there's nobody left from Pozro that can reset the cap, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It just started falling apart. I'm very intrigued as to what you mentioned with the 2-line push here. If that one would have worked, but I guess we'll never know because they did try.
Maybe it's something for the analysts to discuss if it could have worked at some point. The potential play. I think they would be spotted really late because the i7's kind of sitting next to the rock, so unless he randomly reverses, he's not really spotting it. Like, I'm imagining something like this, Kihan, right? So you have the 113 on the island, right, in E1.
Yeah, that is basically exchanging spots with the Udas, so
yeah,
the Udas
with the
cannot
Udas.
peek further.
The Udas cannot peek further. And then you have double CS, double 113, right? Getting... So each CS pushes a 113. It's like a little choo-choo train. And they drive from under. And I think they would be spotted so late that the reaction speed that would be needed for the side of Pozro would have to be insane. I don't think they would get any damage on the crossing. Like 0.
Or maybe a shot by the IS-7.
Yeah, the IS-7 would probably still get a shot, yeah, sure. And then he sets one of the CSs on fire.
But yeah, that was round number 3, and the score is a convincing 3-0 so far. Obviously, we are now in a best of 9, which means there is still 2 more chances, at least, for the team of Tropical to, try to come back into this match. They are now gonna show us what they have planned for their Mines defense. Yesterday, I believe we saw a very, very aggressive game coming from...
Middle with the fires. I think they had like 3 fires of them. They had like 3 CSs on the hill as well. And they basically forced the team of Invalgo to recommit on the hill, and then they overpush middle with E5s.
Yeah, exactly. And then the DPM by the E5s was just too much because the enemy team, I think it was Invalgo, had 2 7-7s. But yeah, game number 4 here. It's once again going to be on Mines, and I'm very intrigued as to how the setups are also going to look. Is Tropical again going with that E5 approach? Will they maybe bring something different? We are about to find out, and once again, triple E5, 1277, triple CS by the defenders, by Tropical, and Postro coming with triple 113, so also DPM on their side, 1 IS4, double CS, and 1 STB.
You gotta remember though that this heavy middle Kihan does allow a team to take the cap straight if they wanted to. So for Tropical here, you gotta wonder, if we go back to the middle, will Pozro be aware of what we could do? Will they be reacting? Because it does open 1-2 line, it does open the cap, and look at it. Look what they're doing. Look what Pozro is going for immediately. That's the counterplay.
Yeah, I mean, Postro did obviously watch the games by Tropical yesterday, so they will have seen what Tropical did with those E5s, and now the CSs by the defenders have taken the hill, but Postro, they do not seem too worried. KPRK not starting the cap yet. I guess he's waiting for his other tanks to come close, to go into the cap, and the position in K4, K5 that can deliver resets is not there yet. Attila now trying to get into the hold down on the 2 or 3 line to be able to get some resets by himself, taking a lot of damage though on the cross, I guess, and yeah, indeed, dropping down to 900 even.
It's a desperate attempt to get somebody in position where they can actually reset from, and Ali had to pay the price there. He is now kind of hold down, but they are going to pen him over time. I mean, it's a 277, it's not an IS-7. Its turret is strong, but not invincible, and this is perfect for Pozdro. They have the angles, they have the tanks established, they have Yosi spotting a further crossing as well, and now 17 seconds. It's not enough time to get somebody back in K4, so there's going to have to be a jump even from, like, somebody has to reset here. So Ali needs to somehow get a reset onto one of these guys. It's either that or Neva needs to commit and peek once to actually get a reset, and Neva is going, but Neva gets blown up! Amorak into Amorak detonation! That's what you hate to see. You could see his Amorak was damaged on the first shot, and then the second one decided to blow it up, and now Pozdro is chilling because there's no reset coming in. Finally, one comes from Whiterock in the E5, but that's not nearly enough. One more comes from Ali onto Orchek, but Konrad is the one with all the cap right now. Konrad has not been resetted yet. Orchek and Fed now readjusting their tanks to shield their buddy Konrad, who's just also chilling behind the likes of Orchek and Fed, just holding, waiting, capping, as now Virwi is going to have to be forced to get a big commitment as well to reset. 5 seconds again. They know they have to get it. 8 seconds. Konrad still not reset. Attila is going to have to make a big jump. Perhaps here coming off the cliff. It's Attila going in. Attila's going up. Attila's going over. Attila's going all the way. Gets stuck behind the rock as well. And this is what it looks like when a team gets outplayed from A to Z, as Pozdro here realizing what Tropical did in the game before and now being absolutely ready for it. I mean, it's 5 tanks left for Tropical and 7 for Pozdro, but it's game over.
Yeah, I mean, even that sort of, you know, headless reaction coming out from Never not helping them either, just being blown to pieces in 2 shots here, but I don't think it would have mattered in the grand scheme of things, even if he's able to get one more reset in. Doesn't matter. And now we are seeing once again the cap to down to 20 seconds. I mean, even if Ozek dies here to that HE spam, you still have Konrad very healthy, hiding behind Timfed, and Kubash, he's even pushed up here to flank the E5 that was yeah, threatening to get resets from above, but the HP, I mean, it's 5.5 against 12.5k, so yeah, Pozdro looking very, very strong, having watched the stream yesterday, having seen what Tropical did with a perfect counterplay. Yes, a little bit of luck on their side, but even without that, they would have taken the round.
Yeah, I mean, even without the blow up, it's just one of those issues is that on mines, when you go from south and you go middle into fight, you often end up in this case where the enemy team goes 1-2. They don't even have to cross through, as you could see, but they did cross through. However, usually what happens is that you need to get your CSs back to cross back over to 1-2 line, which is costly, so you can start playing the angles again. But, you know, in this case, Pozdro was really fast on the cap, and this is the big issue, man. When you play middle like this and the enemy team takes the cap, you're scrambling to get into position. And we can see what's the result, man. It's a clean, easy victory for Pozdro, making it 4-0. Absolutely unexpected after yesterday's performance from Tropical.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there right now, as we take another look at the map picks and bans. And the next one is one being picked by Pozdro here, Himmelsdorf coming out, and I'm starting to doubt we're going to see a lot more here by Tropical in the tournament. This
is still territory for Tropical.
I mean,
because, like, you know, losing 2-0 is one thing, but losing 4-0, Kian, it's really hard for them to overcome this, because you need to win 4 straight rounds, and then you need to win the tiebreaker as well. It's a mountain to climb.
Yeah, this is Mount Everest territory, actually, if you want to compare it to a mountain. And being, yeah, Pozdro being on a match point here, so Tropical needs to have 4 clean games in a row to basically be able to even have the chance of taking the match still.
It doesn't happen often. It does happen sometimes. I've seen it happen, but the instances in where it happens are very rare. So I would say that the odds for it are low, rather low, if not unrealistic.
I mean, single-digit percent territory, I would say.
Yeah.
All
if
right.
this was a betting, if it was a betting side now, it'd be like, I don't know, 25-1, or something like this, 50-1 even. It's like betting on a bad horse, you know, Kihan, the 100-1, and then being like, maybe she'll win today. I see she has a good run. She's doing well. But yeah, it's not that we don't trust Tropical. It's just that the mountain ahead of them is
very steep, very high.
It also depends, you know, some teams deal with defeats better than others, as in they are able to mentally reset and continue on, while other teams, they don't deal that well with it. They get
yeah. I mean, we cannot look into the inside of the heads of the players in Tropical right now.
It's like, yeah, sometimes it's like a beehive, you know, they're swarming around and it just gets a little more hot inside.
Very interesting that you make the beehive connection here. How would
I know, right? I don't know, man. You know, maybe because their 50v15 team was called Hive, Beehive. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know, just trying my best.
All right, that was a Kihan joke, and I'm saying that is not a good news for the joke itself. Anyway, Postro coming out with 4 IS4s, a 277, an S-Conk, and a CS. And on the other side, Tropical having a double 113, double IS4, and triple VZ. And to be honest, I'm not a great fan of the VZs against IS4 power.
Well, I mean, depends though, man. If they can get an actual aggressive push onto it, this is the kind of lineup where you need to burst something down, right? You need to be able to use that burst, clip something out in the beginning. If they do that, then yes, it is possible.
Now, we do see a severe 1-2 line commitment by the team of Tropical. All tanks bear 1 being committed there. Postro, so far, rather defensive positions on the lower side, while they are sending the CS and the S-Conk on towards the hill. I am not exactly sure what part of the setup by Postro has urged Tropical to take the 1-2 line with this many tanks. I mean, they only have the
because
IS4.
They can win it. Because Postro crossed an IS4 down K-line yesterday. It's some sort of counterplay. Remember against Campingplatz?
Yeah.
They crossed an IS4 down to J1. Also, Campingplatz had W100 and an E3. So their lineup was much slower, as in not really able to take 1-2. Itox is taking the hold on here, though. This will give them spots on the 8 line. And with the HE changes, he's not going to die.
Ooh, good
he gets a
connection
nice shot onto Kubash as well. Before, you could HE this guy for a few minutes and he'd be pretty low. But now, it's not really going to do much.
Yeah, especially since some of the HE is bound to hit the gunmantlet, and then you will have the screen not penetrated, and you won't deal damage at all. Kitty and Kapark now exchanging spots as well. So Prostro seems to be well aware that Tropical has a heavy 1-2 line commitment here, but so far they're not really reacting to it in the eastern part of the map. The CS not really making any advances on the 0 line yet.
Yeah, but he's going to slowly creep through that. He will find an IS4 though on A6, and he will find a VZ55 on A4.
And that one, I think it can actually shoot unspotted onto the 0 line. So the IS4 is going to be spotting. Yeah,
but now the CS is also not going to cross through straight. Usually he peeks, he spots, and if he wants to cross through Kihan, he will go back up, he will go into speed mode, and he will zoom past. The odds of you hitting that shot against that CS, with your reaction speed, impossible. For the average player, less impossible.
Still impossible though, especially if you have to aim at one corner like 3 minutes and then someone zooms past you. You know,
he will get spotted, and by the time he's like really realistically that you've noticed, he'll be crossed through.
Now the S-Conk is probably... Ooh, nice shot here coming out by Kubash. The S-Conk is going to try to draw the shots, and now the CS is actually going to cross over. Unspotted. Even. So Articwell was not spotting here. They are unaware. Basically clueless.
Elmo Sabe.
Yeah, they are clueless that the CS has made it through. Okay.
Yeah, well,
he even connected that shot onto silent.
Did he?
Yeah.
That wasn't him.
I saw him fire.
That wasn't him, Kihan. How would he do that exactly?
You aim and then you click, like point and click adventure, you know?
Kihan, I think that was Kubash.
Might be.
You know,
I would
Kubash
like to
actually
believe it was Yossi.
I don't even think that Yossi's angle would have existed onto that corner.
Okay, feels bad, man.
Sorry. If there was a bus, you're being thrown under it right now. But both me and Insane.
It's a huge bus that I'm being thrown under. Anyway, there are 4 minutes that have passed now, and Tropical, so far, I would say, holding strong in their defense. Yes, taking some damage, but nothing really concerning yet. So this means that we could be on course to actually see Tropical putting one on the board to not get clean sweeped here. Postro, they only have 3 minutes 37 seconds left to make something happen.
I think the position of Itox is what Postro is looking for right now, to try and take him out one way or another. Or not, because Yossi's crossing back. I don't know. Yossi crossed from 0 line back down 8 line. So I guess they're going to go for Tiger there. Critical in that 113. They're going to pressure onto him. But there's going to be a lot of support here for the side of Tropical for that tank. He's just going to pull back outside of this little courtyard. So the rest of his tanks can realistically support him, because if Conrad peeks any further, there's archers that you can shoot through and actually do big damage on towards Conrad. And as you can see, 892 taken now, and it's the full push here from Postro. They are using those IS-4s. They are trying to make some sort of crossfire work, and you can see those IS-4s. You can see that armor being annoying to deal with for the side of Tropical, but so far so good for them though. They're again trying to draw them around in crossfire, but actually has Itox come too close here with his IS-4? You could argue that he did, as he is the first one to get picked up, trying to close the distance to his teammates, and now Critical is going to be the second one to get focused out here. Tropical was in a good position, but if they lose the guns here too fast, too soon, don't allow those VZs to really work, it's going to be terrible for them. Neva returning the favor though on towards KPRK, and now Critical just driving forward. Yossi to pick it up. Yossi goes down in return, and yet it is a 4v5 here. They're now chasing down Ali, who's ammo acting the VZ either way, and so far you could say still looking okay here for either of the two teams.
Yeah, but Ali now going down here just makes it a 4v4 here. HP currently 1000 up for Postro. Just as I say that, it goes down to 500 as Silent makes his clip, equalizing the HP. But the problem is the VZ. It has now expended his shells and not killed the IS-4, so he's probably going to fall in return. Vervi and Never trying to make something happen against DJ and Orzek, but Vervi already on the reload again. He is going to have another 1000 damage in his clip, but Kubash, he's just getting side shots here by Artiquel, and now down to 920. Actually, I think Artiquel could even go and just, you know, take the 1v1 here, and 1 minute 30 left. Postro, as the attackers, not really looking that strong anymore, as Orzek had to fall back, cannot really support DJ anymore. Timfad on the prowl on the flank here. We're gonna see if he can make something happen when he comes in, and now the trigger getting pulled here by the team of Tropical onto DJ. They're trying to get towards Orzek to take out that one shot while Timfad is out of the fight. DJ connecting another shot, and Orzek playing ring around the roses, finally getting found by Never, but not picked up yet. I guess that was a good track shot. Finally, Never coming out with the kill.
Looks like Neva was just making sure that he 100% closes down on the kill there. Now DJ having to chase a 115, having to chase a VZ. But in the meantime, there is something very important right now that we all have to pay attention to, even if DJ kills Neva and Very here somehow, which is going to be hard for him either way. It is Attila is running. And Tropical, they're finally showing us something, Kihan, because it took a while. But at the end of the day, they are going to pick up at least one round here. At least.
Yeah, Timfad now coming around here. Vervi seeing him does get the snapshot into Timfad. And now signs of life coming out by Tropical that managed to win that 6v6 engagement on the southwestern part of Himmelsdorf that we just saw. And they are finally showing up in that scoreboard here. 4-1. That means still match point for Postro. But a start for Tropical, maybe?
A start, yes. A start to a very, very long road. A very long road, because even this game was really, really close and could have gone either way. It's not like they had a tremendous advantage here to win out this game. And you can see the VZ there. You can see the difference, right? Very getting to play the whole game in his VZ does really well, right? He does 4K plus, which is really nice. 4 clips in the VZ. But Ali there in return, getting, well, 1.5 clip off. Silent also doing pretty well, 777, but they're very 12, 11, 11, getting actually 6 clips.
Yeah, also I guess 3 kills is very, very nice in the VZ because you have that high alpha damage, but then again, if you have that 700 kill range that normally takes a very long time and the enemy can retaliate very well, the VZ just goes and peeks and takes it out. So good stuff coming from Vervi, and now the sides are switching. We are going to see Pozdro on their defense.
Pozdro on their defense, which is going to be hard, I think, again, for Tropical. The thing they can hope for here, though, is that Pozdro gets a little bit, how do you say it, complacent, comfortable with their position. It's like, we can lose a round. It isn't that bad. You know, we're at match point. I've seen another team do that, where they were at match point and say, we can lose a round. It's not that bad. And then later on, losing the match. In a 15v15. Oh wait, that was the Hive team actually. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know why you keep going back to that one. It must have brought great joy to you if I see you smile right there now.
Great joy. Absolute tremendous joy.
But maybe they can rectify it here by doing a remontada in a 7v7. But to be honest, their journey towards the finals of the tournament is probably longer than Yuzi's journey in the CS, driving all the way from the north part of the map to the south. And
I feel like Tropical really needs a safety car in this lap for Michael Massey then to switch the rules up a little bit so they can overtake and become world champion.
That was what you now said. All right. Anyway.
A safety car could be really helpful for them here. Anyways, next round of Himmels. Poster on the defense. Tropical on the attack. 4-1. Tropical finally picking up their first round in this match, bringing it back, and now have to bring it all the way if they want to do anything with it. CS, E3, E4, IS4, double E100, and double 50B for Tropical. Double 50B though.
Double 50B is very, very potent when it comes to picking off singled out tanks, but first of all, they need to find those singled out tanks. Pozdro, on the other hand, also an E3, double S-Kong, and 4 IS4s. So still believing in the power of the IS4 in that just incredible armor, honestly, that you can use to side scrape, generate information. I'm very curious as to what Tropical is going to do with the double IS4. I think in the qualifiers I saw them driving over the hill with double E100 and also with the E3, and I think Pozdro is sort of assuming the same thing because they're only sending the S-Kong to cover the 1 cap, meanwhile everyone else is going towards the 2 cap to take some kind of positions there.
Yeah, it does seem like they're aware, but the CS here should get some info on these tanks. No, he didn't spot anything. But Pozdro here gambling, and so far gambling well, you could say, by assuming what the side of Tropical is gonna do. And so far, man, this is gonna hurt for Tropical if they do decide to go down the A line.
Yeah.
They remember Pozdro's positioning before. He had against camping plants. There was a lot to be talked about and discussed that it wasn't that great, but this time, IS4 and A5, IS4 and A6, both able to actually shoot that A line.
And the problem also with those E100, if you consider the armor layout, you have to think that against the IS4s, I think they are relatively going to be above the E100s, so the turret armor is going to be less effective. And yesterday we saw Vervi with beautiful angling in the E100. If they're angled downwards like they will be in this scenario, not sure if it's going to be that great.
Itox here facing off against the E3 from Kubash. Kubash not actually being spotted. I don't know how that works out. He does connect the shell there though, but I don't think that was a penetrating shell per se.
No HP lost on either side, so no damage dealt with with that shot. The second one also not dealing damage, not sure.
I like how Kubash has optics to make sure he spots everything, and in return he's just sitting still. Because, you know, stationary camo key hand.
Yep.
Can you explain how it works?
Yeah, basically every class of vehicle, except for light tanks, has more camo stationary than when they are moving. As I said, light tanks, they keep their stationary camo even while on the move. So this is why the E3 is currently not spotted here by Itox, even though he's possibly well within the view range of Itox. But yeah, camo holding up so far, and that's why he's also not shooting here. Ooh,
that's an ignite with a high explosive onto the cupola? What? Where did the shell hit? Where did the shell hit? I'm very curious. Is there a way to show where the shell hit the tank of Kubash?
I am not entirely... Okay, yeah, I guess 8...
How does... Wait, oh, there? Was it there?
Yeah, I think it was on the cupola, yeah.
How does that set him on fire, though, Kian? You're the Wargaming expert here, please.
It is the spalling inside the vehicle that probably hit the engine and then caused the fire there.
What?
Yeah. So basically how it works also in real life is that when an HE shell hits the armor, then inside of the tank you will have spalling going on. That is the little shrapnel.
It sounds like high enough or high amount of copium to me.
I mean, apparently not high enough because Kuba actually got set on fire, so I must be right here. Anyway, Kitty, Vervi in the E100s and also Silent in his IS-4 are now being pushed up. Sorry, what?
Double 50B and the CS is flanking from the south-hand side. It's an 8-line crunch. AKA, we push in with the E100s from one side, and then at the same time, from that, we take the 50Bs and we take the CS and we push from the south to try and get an overmatch on the singular tank of Postro that is exposed. Kitty here peeking out against KPRK, no connection. Silent not connecting either, but in return though, they have found an overmatch. They haven't found Fed by himself. Fed, the only one there. The 50B is now starting to clip out, but in return you can see the repush here coming out from the side of Postro on towards Kitty, on towards Vervi, on towards Silent. Those 50Bs are now on reload, and now it is important that Postro gets in, that Postro gets through, that Postro makes it work here as they are pushing forward the 50Bs on reload. When they come back in, Postro is going to be in some deep trouble here, in Postro realizing this, pressuring forward, now picking up Kitty, Vervi next, but Yonzi taking a hell of a lot of damage in the meantime, as now Vervi is the next focus. Silent now pushing in around the corner, trying to pick up Yonzi. They do, and I don't think Postro has made it work on time, because now DJ is getting clipped out by those 50Bs, and that's where the burst actually works against these tanks like those IS-4s. When it gets to clip, when it gets to clip again, come back into the fight, reload, make another angle of approach come. 4 tanks left standing here for the side of Tropical, 3 for Postro, and now Conrado in a little bit of trouble because he's isolated with nobody to help, and Kubash, he can't come in.
Yeah, Conrad now in a big trouble here as Silent and Atukul are just, you know, sandwiching here with Conrad down to 68 HP, manages to connect one more shot onto Ali in the 50B, but now we have a 4 versus 2 situation, and one of the 2 tanks by the defenders of Postro is actually an E3, so cannot really hold up in these few tanks versus many tanks scenarios. He's also being hindered by the E3 of Tropical to basically come close and help his buddy Ozek, who is now getting found here by Ali in the 50B and by Ati in the CS. And now only Kubash left here, so it will be a clean 2-0 victory by the side of Tropical on the map that is Himmelsdorf.
Yeah, the comeback is more likely now, Kian. You know, every round adds a little bit of fate. If we had 1% fate at 4-0, we had 5% fate at 4-1. Now we have 25% faith at 4-2. Look, man, it was a good reaction from Tropical. Again, though, yet again, this time around, we have Postro playing unadjusted defense to what they did against Camping Plants, but yet again, they have a tank isolated, like they did kind of against Camping Plants. They also gave up a tank for free, and this time it was Fed. You know, where is he supposed to go in the IS-4? All by himself. He possibly could have made it away further, though, if he kept running, which would have been better for the Postro team. Arguably, Fed should have just booked it to behind the hold down at the window. If he makes that, he's probably pretty safe and would be able to get supported by his team. But now he does 889 damage. And if you look at the... excuse me. If you look at the damage that was dealt by the side of Postro, you can see that 50B there from Ali, 4k. Itox even having 3.5k, Attila 3.1, and White Rock 2.5 with 2 kills, right? Those are the tanks that were flanking from behind. The E100s and the IS-4 weren't really the damage dealers here.
Yeah, I think the problem was as well that repush with the IS-4s that Pozdro was attempting. Basically, the first tanks that they got to farm and deal damage on were actually the tanks that Tropical didn't
It's
mind.
where their lineups. It's where their lineup struggles, man.
Yeah,
the lineup of
I mean,
Pozdro.
they first of all...
It's not even about pen rates. It's just about the fact they don't have any burst. So they have basically, as soon as the 50B start reloading, the time that Pozdro has left to win the game is like 20 seconds.
Yeah,
in 20 seconds they have to make 2 kills or more.
The problem as well was basically that the first tanks that Pozdro were pushing on were the E100s. So Tropical, they had the damage sponges. Actually,
it's either that or it's either that or the IS-4.
Yeah.
So
which is also not that cool to engage upon.
It doesn't have 3k plus HP, but it's still 2.9k HP that you have to go through with IS-4s, Kian. You know.
All right.
The tanks that Pozdro has are just not really good for taking a fight like that they have to win quickly. All engagements with it are kind of long and drawn out.
All right, though, that is the first 3 maps: Ghost Town, Mines, and Himmelsdorf, done and dealt with. Now we are heading over to Prokarovka. So yet again, a completely different kind of beast when it comes to the map. We saw Prokarovka, I believe, in 2 games yesterday.
It was Prepalos against Holovnitsi. We saw 2 rounds of it.
Yeah, and Holovnitsi looking very, very good there. Now we're seeing Pozdro against Tropical. Personally, yeah.
Did we see CSA play Proco? I don't remember.
We saw 4 games from CSA. I'm not sure if we did see Proco though. Moro
was one of them. My memory is failing me. I'm getting
Same.
old.
I also don't. I can't recall it.
I know,
but yeah, Ducky, that's what
happens.
happens. You know, when you get old, that will you know.
Yeah, you would know because you're quite further down the line than I am.
I'm not at the 30 yet, but it's not far off.
You're way closer to checkout than I am. You can already see the cashier. I'm still in one of the alleyways looking for some food.
All right, here we go. Game number 7 in between Tropical and Pozdro. Tropical are going to be attacking. And yesterday you said you would prefer attacking on Prokarovka. We see them with double 113, double IS-7.
They have a 13105, man, as their lighting. Usually we say T100 because of its sustained damage and gun. Although the 13105 also has good camo. It's a little bit of a mini bad shot even in that light tank. It's not a bad pick whatsoever. And if Silent was like to clip KPRK here, I would be thoroughly surprised and amazed. Although I don't think it's going to happen. He stops behind the building. Does get a lot of spots out immediately, though. White Truck already moving forward. Silent taking a shot of damage there in that 13105, now backing off. Can he survive? Can he take no more damage? Oh, he's down to 576 already. That 13105 so far, not the greatest, but has at least enabled his team to cross pretty unscathed, unspotted so far with these heavies.
The heavies actually got spotted before by the T100. That's why the guns by Pozdro are in place. However, Yosi getting burned here on the cross in his IS-7. That is a lot of HP that they probably would have liked to still be there. And now DJ going to be the next target here. White Truck taking huge amounts of punishment here in the Batchat, even going down and out of the game. So suddenly we only have a 6 versus 7 here. Also the 13105, the mini Batchat as you called it, down to a 1-shot. And Ozek and Yosi, they can sit comfortably there with the IS-7s and just be hold down, because there is no one in place yet on the 0 line on the hill that could farm them. And even if the 13105 comes there, it doesn't really have the pen or the accuracy to do so.
Yeah, they really needed that tank of White Truck to stay alive here to create that crossfire angle on towards DJ, because you could see DJ was just able to pull back and around, but now finally the CS63 from Ali, together with that 3105, able to put the pain on towards those tanks. And now you can see these triple heavies here. Orchek moved forward at some point to try and help DJ, but in return, he's actually getting in a lot of trouble here. Verwi is going to maybe survive on a one-shot if Itox can get the shield off, and he can. And now it's actually not that bad for Tropical anymore, because there's only 4 tanks left standing here for Pozdro. One of them is an STRV with 2000 HP, 1800 HP, that is not contributing into the game whatsoever. He can only hold angles. He can't really do much other than this. And now Attila pushing down. Itox needs to be careful not to take a shot there. Fed now having to back off yet again in his STRV. He might want to peek wide. He tries to go for the snap. STRV, not the kind of tank you just want to drive over and peek, but he tries again. He's not getting it. He's probably a little frustrated and now knows that he has to back away from A6. He can't stay there because the big, meaty IS-7 has arrived.
Yeah, and also with the IS-7, keep in mind it's got the 130mm gun, so it can overmatch even on the upper plate, that middle strip around the gun, above and below it from the STRV, so the armor is not going to hold up against the IS-7 whatsoever. There is a Super Conk now being pushed up towards the north by the team of Pozdro, but the problem remains. They only have 4 guns left, and the eastern side is completely in control of Tropical. They just need to now figure out a way to send someone into the cap without him taking punishment for it. They're still keeping the 13-105 on the hill as sniper support, but that is not its preferred role, I wouldn't think.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to establish the angles right now that they want to play from, the angles that they want to actually use to their advantage. As they now start capturing the base, it's with a 113, and the 13-105 is going to be doing the big snipes from the hill, though.
We're going to see how many shots he actually hits at the end of the game. Now, if you take a look at the tanks that are currently spotted, it is double IS-7, and the CS was just spotted here for Tropical. So Pozdro, they are missing info on a lot of tanks currently. The 13-105, it could rotate, and in its clip, it has like 1170 potential damage. So that is something that they do need to respect. It is a possible 1 clip onto the T100 if he actually gets the engagement and the T100 is reloading. We'll have to see. That is all the things that Pozdro have to respect, despite being 3k HP up.
Yeah, but 3k HP up and only, you know, the STR... Okay, first of all, we can just completely neglect the STRV HP. When he peaks somewhere, and if it's not a good peak, he's minus 1.5k immediately. So we're not going to really take that HP as anything relevant into account. Kubash here trying to peek over onto Attila. Takes a truckload of damage. KPRK comes over as well. Fed actually picking it up there. Now KPRK crossing through. Itox getting spotted out. And this is why I don't like the 113 in the cap right now. Because now he's forced to drive out into the open as he gets picked up by Fed. And that's great for the side of Pozdro, actually getting not 1 but 2 guns out, and now Verwi getting pushed on by KPRK. In the meantime, the IS-7 of Conrad being pushed by Ali, by Tiger in those 113s and that CS. And luckily enough, no connection there coming out from the S-Con, but Ali actually bouncing a shot as well. That's really, really crucial here as well, because it takes him, depending on the rolls, of course. Oh, 413, it could be a potential 2-shot here for Ali. If Ali rolls once more, he doesn't take an extra shot of damage.
Yeah, we'll see. No. He doesn't roll him, though, and this enables Conrad to do another shot of damage and even get 100 HP of ramming off, so he's going to be a one-shot even for the T100 at this point in time.
They can crossfire Kubash, though.
We're going to have to see. It is still 4 tanks versus 3, but I think the hopes are diminishing here for Tropical, as basically on the 4 tanks that they have 1267 HP, so I guess great job for keeping your one-shots alive. But it's not going to help much, as the T100 and the STRV still can create synergies, and the S-Conk is just going to hold the 2 cap, and no one's going to be able to go there undetected or even undamaged or uncontested.
Yeah, the time is also starting to run down, of course. You got to keep that into account. KPRK is now just sitting in a bush to spot 1-2 line. Silent coming closer onto the cap. I think realistically he wants to go to A6 now to crossfire Kubash and put Ali on the cap already. They kill Kubash and then they go cap. Would be the preferred method of approach here. I think they need to kill Kubash one way or another. They don't really have a choice anymore.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting though how they will try to do it. Do they put the 13-105 close or something? Actually, they're starting to double cap now with 2 one-shots with Ali and Silent. Not sure if I'm a fan, because the S-Conk can just peek over and give them shots. He doesn't really care about taking one shot by the IS-7. And also, by committing 2 tanks to the cap and Pozdro know where the IS-7 is, means that the T100 and the STRV can actually start rotating around the map.
Yeah, you can see Kubash here just waiting for KPRK to start pressuring this 113 in the middle, which is going to happen now. Tiger is going to have to face off against this one. I think KPRK does actually connect the shot, which is good stuff here. Needs to be careful about this face hug, though. He can't get around the 113, then he is going to die. He does clean up that 113. And I think now is going to be big trouble for the side of Tropical, as KPRK still has 10 seconds to go and spot the cap. Can he do it? I think he will. I think Pozdro shall. And now here he comes. Fed picks it up because Ali gets spotted out. And it looked okay there for Tropical. At some point, KPRK closes out the kill towards Silent. But now Virwi, the last man standing. And Pozdro there, closing it out at the end of the day. Yet again, I didn't really like the 113 on the cap, though.
Yeah, no, the 113 just went down towards the STV without being able to retaliate. And in the end, Tropical managing to impress us on Himmelsdorf. All the other maps, however, not so much, as Pozdro take a comfortable and, in the end, I would say, deserved victory over Tropical, thus securing their spot in the finals, which are going to happen later today. And we unfortunately have to say goodbye.
We'll have to see if it's going to be a rematch for Pozdro in the finals, as they're the first ones arriving. They could be met there by the Goodnight Nomi team, or could be a rematch from the last finals.
Indeed, as
Fed though, big gaming.
Fed on gaming indeed here. First of all, let's take a look at the damage done here by Tropical. And in the end, that 13-105, he was in the sniping position, but he didn't really do that. Yeah, the connections are okay, but in the end, I don't think the pick worked out.
Whiterog there, I think, was the bigger issue in his bad shot. He got spotted and just got deleted by everybody in the Pozdro team. I think he was the one that was supposed to kill DJ from behind.
Yeah, but he didn't. So, yeah. In the end, beautiful stuff by Pozdro coming out in that best of 9. And now we, I guess, head over to our analysts to see what they have to say about it.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Kihan and Deki, for the amazing casting. As you said, Pozdro just dominating. They're pretty strong now, and we can just recognize them during Wot7s. The last time they were finalists, now they are making it again. And I guess they're just waiting for all of Nitsi to join them, possibly to just take their revenge, right, Magic?
Definitely, they are a force to be reckoned with, and they showed it to us. This game could have been even a 5-0. I mean, at least for the first two maps, it definitely looked like it was going to be a 5-0. But then Tropical fought their ground on Himmelsdorf.
Well, I guess the better team advancing to the finals, and we have to say goodbye to Tropical because there's no loser bracket this time, so Pozdro making it to the finals. And the next match, Magic, Goodnight Nomi against Invil Holovnici. Two Polish teams clashing again.
Two Polish teams, but Invil Holovnici having the experience. They have won this Wot7 tournament 2 times already. Their FCs and their players are definitely very experienced, whereas Goodnight Nomi on the other side, they do have the players that have sometimes fought in these Wot7 and 15 versus 15 formats, but they weren't really in the semifinals or finals of the tournaments. They don't have the experience to fight in these battles.
I mean, that's an interesting mix they have, and you have to consider the fact that there's Ilian in that team, a very experienced 7v7 player. He's probably adding a lot to this team, tactic-wise, call-wise. You could see the way they played yesterday against CSA, very fast-paced tactics, pretty clean on the calling, pretty clean on the shooting, and they will need to even step up their level today because they are going to be fighting the team that is probably the big favorite of the tournament in Holovnici. They are going to be trying to take the victory here to join Pozdro in the finals to just take 2 Wot7s in a row because they were the winners of the past one.
Yes, definitely. Ilian is the one to take them to the next level. He is a player that has been around in the WGL days as well for multiple teams. He has fought a lot in this format, and I think if there is a player to look at from the Goodnight Nomi side, then he definitely is the one to look out for. On the other hand, the Holovnici lineup is full of stars you could mention, and it's not just a one-man show over there.
I mean, I guess we can just take a look possibly at the lineups each of the teams have to just talk about the players from both of the teams. Here you go. It's
Well, it's
Actually,
us.
coming up in few seconds probably, but as you said, all of Nitsi is just the team with all of those huge players. They are also the main players that you can recognize from the 15v15 team. They have super performing team in the current meta in World of Tanks. I guess that the community also will likely go their way, but Goodnight Nomi, they have a shot. And I think that Ilian is definitely going to be bringing some pretty interesting and risky tactics to surprise them.
We have seen the TVP pick yesterday on Murovanka. I'm not exactly sure how it was supposed to work out. It was definitely something that we haven't seen from any other team before. So I suppose that Goodnight Nomi actually has done their homework, has prepared well for this tournament. Also from the way they play, they definitely do know how to play the strategies they play. They reacted very well on the cliffs yesterday, especially against CSA. Even with Ilian disconnecting, those games weren't close. Let's see what they can do against an enemy that is a level above them currently, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about this TVP. I think the main goal of that tank is to possibly have a huge burst damage on tanks, possibly joining the cap straight. That's something we have seen in the past, but the teams were not using it anymore because the tank is not super flexible later on to play with. But Goodnight Nomi, you have a shot, just give your best. We're going to be soon having the replays of the match we just saw between Tropical and Pozdro Podsvitz, the Polish team that is going to be our first finalist. About that match, again, they were 4-0 down. Tropical, they managed to take 2 rounds on Himmelsdorf, but not just enough on Prokarovka, a map where actually trainings matter a lot, right?
Indeed, they do. I think we have seen that with Whiterock, maybe overextending a little bit. That has cost them in the long run dearly. Imagine if Whiterock there, whose task is basically to punish the enemy team, actually punishes the enemy team instead of being punished himself, being down and out of the game within the first minute or so of the game. He would have been a really beneficial tank to have in that match on Prokarovka.
That's worth to mention. Like, those teams, they are not having enough preparation, probably neither training. So you will see all of those mistakes. This is going to be pretty common over those tournaments. Those players like lacking knowledge on the positioning they could have, on how risky that could be, on how deep they could go into some spots, and then sometimes it's just like not good enough. They're a bit too far, and they just get spotted and heavily punished, and it can even go down, like it happened to that bad shot. And as you said, those micro mistakes, that's very costly, because in 7v7 it's not like in 15v15. A tank is super costly to lose. You can even win some games having all of your tanks on one shot because the guns are still up. And I guess that's a pretty good lesson about that format, which is like pretty hard compared to 15v15, and also it's requiring on the players to fail less because the impact on the tank dead is huge.
I mean, you have seen Whiterock doing 6,400 damage, if I remember well, on Super Conk on Murovanka yesterday. He is definitely a player that is really good at the game, good at randoms, and maybe because of the lack of trainings, he made this mistake on Prohorovka. That's not really something you can blame him for, IMO. I think it's just showing the importance of trainings. We know that some of the teams do train, some of the teams do not train, but the end result is what you would expect to happen, is that the teams that train are the ones that get into the later stages of the tournament, are the ones that have better showings.
Yeah, maybe we could possibly have the pick and ban about those two teams that are coming up in Vil Olovnitsy and Goodnight Nomi to possibly give an overview about the maps coming up. I'm not sure if we have that ready. Probably not, actually.
It doesn't look like it.
Doesn't look like it, but as you said, well, to be fair, if I'm just rewatching at what happened, I think the better team just won. They are more experienced, and we don't have to consider them underdogs anymore, like second finals in a row. But the replays are ready, finally, so we can just go for it, Magic.
Indeed, we can see the aggression from Tropical coming out on their defense straight towards A0, picking up the bad shot, but in return losing the control over their cap. We can see Kiperek and Josi taking over the cap area without actually taking a shot of damage even.
Yeah, well, that was a good cap pressure from Pozdro. They already utilized that in the in the past and even yesterday with those IS-4, those meaty IS-4, just forcing Tropical into just coming to get the decaps and then over pushing and getting the over matches on those tanks. So there's like a good opening, interesting opening from Tropical, having a tank advantage, but HP wise it was not great, and they had to get the decaps and that just didn't work out for them.
They had to get the decaps, and their main fighting force had to push into crossfires, which obviously did not work out them, as Pozdro was ready and set up on decap for it. I mean, the battle went on for a long while, but Tropical just got stuck without map control and without having the tanks anymore. Here we can see Itox getting picked up, isolated from the rest of the team. Neva on A4, I mean, he definitely had a lot of shots, but he cannot share his HP, he cannot shield, he cannot contribute to the team as much as he would be able to if he was closer.
Yeah, next up it was Tropical on the attack, Pozdro on the defense. Pretty interesting way to open, but every time I've seen that Magic teams opening around that base 1, Pozdro was always capable of reacting. It was the same yesterday against the German team Camping Platz. And again, pretty solid rotations. Pozdro really on point on that map, and that's how you understand why they would pick it.
Indeed, I mean, in this case, the A3 Super Conqueror Tropical is unable to kill it with the push, and then for the cap pressure, the buildings are destroyed already by Yozi ahead of this push with HE. That makes it really hard for Tropical to cap in, and then the repush comes in from Pozdro, which allows them to just get better positions and to pick the tanks of Tropical up.
Yeah, Ali and Attila were on a 2v1 situation against that S-Kong, but Ali dropping low, making it possible for that S-Kong to win the 2v1 situation. And the push from Pozdro, they had a pretty easy setup because all of those things from Tropical, 3 on the cap, 2 against that S-Kong. So good stuff from Pozdro, good rotations on point, taking the lead 2-0 on Ghost Town, and that was very well controlled by them.
Indeed it was, they always knew where Tropical was and they could act based on it. Here we can see the Mines attack of Tropical, Whiterock knowing this time how to drop off the hill. Definitely an improvement over yesterday. And the island push from Tropical coming in.
Yeah, well, pretty standard way to attack, but Pozdro, unlike in Vilgo yesterday, actually not ignoring the fact the team can push the one line, one of the most common way to attack, going over the one line with triple 113 and double CS behind one over the 3 line, one over the 1 line. But at the end of the day, Pozdro managing to trade pretty well and retaking the hill with the double IS for forcing Ali down. And it was pretty close, and I think Tropical could have done probably better that run, but at the end of the day, Pozdro solid defense and solid rotations.
Solid defense indeed. I mean, I think it was Kubaj in the UDES who got a bit lucky setting Whiterock on fire. But in this game, Pozdro definitely did not get lucky. Their opening was just much more decent than Tropical's. We can see Ali trying to cross back over towards the H3 rock to try to provide some resets. But in this game, on opening, Pozdro was just much better than Tropical.
I mean, that was pretty painful to watch that round, especially when Tropical has to just almost suicide to get 1 decap. Look at the HP, double the HP for the Polish team. And that's something I'm very concerned. So on the side of Tropical, it worked yesterday when Invilgo actually went for the commitment on the hill in the middle. But if a team is actually deciding to play around the water side and they ignore the middle, they get all the tanks to actually shoot the cross possibly, they get the cap pressure straight, then you have E5s from the side of Tropical that are not the greatest when they cannot full DPM and they have some mid-range fights where they expose the cupolar. Good stuff from Pozdro, completely dominating and teaching them a lesson how to attack on that map.
Indeed. Here, however, on the Himmelsdorf defense, Tropical actually went very aggressive on the 1-2 line in the beginning, and they reacted well to the push that Pozdro made as well, as they spotted it, and Pozdro had to deal with a lot of crossfires here.
I mean, it was pretty hard on the side of Tropical to actually make that run work for them, because you can see all of those meaty IS4s, they're a bit of a counter for the VZ, but Tropical actually on point skill-wise making the connections. The fight was actually pretty even up here. It was just a matter who is focusing the best, who is trying to take those tanks down, those guns down, and it worked well in Tropical's favor with the burst damage of that VZ. It was really close, but at the end of the day, that was the first round they managed to get on the board.
In the end, yes, it was close, but even if Pozdro was able to pick up Vervi and Nava here in the south, Attila could run away in the north. It was just a matter of him running away. Pozdro never really had a chance in this round. Also because their push may have been slightly a bit late. I think they spent a lot of time in this game to actually figure out what they want to push and how they want to push it. And Tropical just ran away with it.
I mean, interesting next round from the side of Tropical, this time deciding to go for something pretty similar but surprising. Pozdro with the pincer attack with 3 tanks going down the hill and pushing over the banana. That's a free pick up that eyes for the side of Pozdro. Team Fed completely isolated and on his own up here, so Pozdro, as you can see, falls into repushing, but they're repushing into Ihundas and IS-4, so that's perfect for the side of Tropical. Their autoloaders, their CS, the tanks with possibly DPM and burst damage are just gonna be staying alive. They're gonna take all the damage with those meaty tanks, and then they're just gonna come back in and clip again.
This was great from the side of Tropical. The only mistake they may have made was a slight overextension with the double E100 and the IS-4, allowing them to take maybe a bit more damage than they really had to there. But the 50Bs getting their second reload off and their second clips off, absolutely demolishing the IS-4s of Pozdro. Pozdro didn't stand a chance in that round. I mean, in the end, we can see the Kubash, the E3 of Kubash being isolated up against 4 enemies. No chance there.
Yeah, good stuff from Tropical, but then we had Prokarovka. That's a map where training matters a lot, and you can see it silent, dropping low with this slide, but that was okay, because in return they managed to make a lot of damage on Yosi, but here is a huge mistake from White Rock, actually getting spotted in his bad shot and dropping down. That's actually massive for Pozdro, taking the early lead, because DJ would just go down next, Orthech and Yosi also, because that was like pretty fine for the side of Tropical. I guess if that bad shot was full HP, that could have worked.
Indeed, it could have worked. It very much could have worked. Here we can see the 3 Tropical heavies playing really well together, shielding each other, and getting their DPM off as well on Orzech and Yosi, picking off both IS-7s of the Pozdro team. It is crucial to pick these tanks up, and if they did this good play, but the bad shot of White Rock would have been alive, I think Pozdro could have been in trouble in this game. However, with this repush that they executed very well, Kubash overpicking, taking the damage, and then Kiperak coming up and finishing the IS-7 of Attila. This repush just sealed the deal for the side of Pozdro.
Completely. I'm not a big fan of them actually not capping with the light and having him on the hill to snipe. I think that was probably a mistake tactically wise for the team, but at that stage it was really hard for them. They had to make a play, and the Polish team had a huge advantage up here. But anyway, that was probably enough from the two of us. We are going to be jumping as soon as possible on the next match. It's the second semi-final between Invil Olovnitsy and Goodnight Nomi. So we are just going to get back to Kihand and Daki. Take it away, casters.
Well, hello there, and welcome back. First of all, thanks for the analysis. And as introduced already, the next match is going to be in between Invil Holovnitsy and Goodnight Nomi, and we're probably all thrilled to see if Invil can basically make it a Invil final once again, just like the last one, or whether Goodnight Nomi is gonna spit in their soup and basically go there instead. The community predictions favoring Holovnitsy, yeah, by a huge margin, 90 to 10%. Then again, we've seen already in this tournament that I think the community was even further in the favor of one team, and then they lost. I believe that was Tropical yesterday against Invil Go.
Yeah,
obviously.
But I feel like this one is more warranted, to be honest, Gihan, because, you know, Invil Holovnitsy did well yesterday. Did well in the last tournament, obviously, by winning it. So I feel this one is way more warranted than the one that Tropical and Invil Go had.
But you cannot count out Goodnight Nomi. I mean, with Elian, they have a lot of experience in this game mode, and also Goodnight Nomi, I believe, the only team in the tournament currently to not have dropped around yet in the playoff stage, as they defeated CSA 4-0 yesterday. Map picks and bans. Invil, Holovnitsy, I
Tundra.
think. Yeah, Tundra. We are maybe gonna... Oh, no, we are definitely gonna see it.
Definitely gonna see
first of all,
Tundra
Himmelstoff,
for
then
2
into
rounds.
Tundra. That's going to be very interesting. Mines and Muro, and possibly Cliff as a tiebreaker. But yeah, I'm thrilled to see Tundra as well.
Tundra is going to be the first time here being shown altogether. That is for me the interesting one. But first of all, I think that Goodnight Nomi, if they want to have a strong start here, needs to take at least 1 round on Himmels. Obviously, they picked Tundra for a reason, because it was their pick, right?
Yes.
So they had a choice. They could get a map through 100%. Holovnitsi couldn't do anything against it. They couldn't ban it. They couldn't prevent it. And they chose for Tundra, which means they have to be well prepared for it. And it comes to the question here to ask, really, is how well is Invil Holovnitsi ready to play on Tundra? Actually,
I mean, in the end, you know that as soon as you reach the semifinals, you cannot be sure not to play a map any longer. So I guess they will have put some amount of preparation into it. Although I would imagine for the side of Good Night Nomi, probably more if they knew they were going to pick it already. That being said, first of all, it's obviously Himmelsdorf. It is Holovnitsi's pick. We've seen the map today already with quite a lot of IS-4s being shown. And it's going to be interesting if we see that again. Maybe we see E100s again. As soon as we see the lineups, that should be clear. Invil is going to attack first. Goodnight Nomi is gonna defend. And here we go with the lineups. Goodnight Nomi defending with double IS-4, triple S-Conk, 1 Batchat, and an E3. Invil Holovnitsi attacking with 1B, 1 E100, quadruple IS-4, and 1 CS.
Yeah, them and Pozro, the real IS-4 lovers here. Every game having multiple of them. It's either IS-4s or S-Kongs. This time around, it's the IS-4s that they're bringing. It's going to be interesting to see the matchup of the triple S-Kong against that quad IS-4, if those S-Kongs can really get their sustained DPM into the fight. And then it's going to see what brings more, right? What brings more in this game, the Batchat 25T from Sokol or the CS63 from Monster? Because, you know, they're both those medium tanks, but completely different roles, actually, in a game like this.
Yeah, and you see Sokol already in the 5 line. He's probably go up into the window to basically spot the 4-line cross, or 5-line cross rather, and he does spot out the IS-4, so yeah, Goodnight Nomi, they do know something is a foul in the state of Southern
Yeah, but look at it,
Hemisphere.
it's the E3, man. It's the E3 going to the window at D5. You don't see that very often, per se.
And you need to be careful with that E3s, that you don't get farmed from the hill. The CS got spotted, so the E3 should be aware that basically he might get farmed from up there, so I don't think we'll see any HP drops on the E3 as of now. That is being played by Elian. He does do one shot, but I think, yeah, he didn't connect onto Blast in the E100, still full HP, and now the 50B being spotted on the rotation towards the hill. He can do that because the E3 is reloading currently.
Yeah, the E3, I mean, also having not spent, of course. Don't forget the E3 penetration. Is it 375?
It
I think
is 375, right? Yeah. Just MLG. I don't care about your armor.
There's only a few tanks that have better, right? It's the 260V5 has 385.
I mean, basically,
right?
most of the tier 10 TDs that have
have 370. They have the 268 also has 380 or 385. Right?
I think the 268, the normal 268 has 395 together with Wheezy TD, I believe. We should ask Jekifau about that one, I guess.
Yeah. Oh well, I mean, close enough. And then it's the Yakpanzer, right, with 420. So, Elian got a question that though, wasn't ready at all for okay, that he doesn't connect on Blast, sure, man, but this one he was in third person, not fully ready, maybe busy telling his team how to position. Should have connected that one.
Yeah, I mean, when you're telling your team how to position, then you should first of all position your crosshair in the correct place. Now, the 1-2 line advance here coming out from Piotr and Yuzek. They are met by Jordan. So far, no damage taken at all. And
but look at the 8 line, though, in return. They have pressured Zuza away from the window. Big shot now from Elian, though.
And the
Sokol going through the middle as well, giving him 1, giving him 2, knocking out his engine. Was that enough to get him dead? No, it isn't, but good stuff there, though, from Goodnight Nomi, kind of surprising the likes of Holovnitsi here. And now they got to be careful, though. They are going to lose Jordan. It's almost inevitable that Jordan goes down here. What can they get in return?
Yeah, Jordan here trying to do a shot on Piotr, misses, however, and now Yuzek and Piotr are going to take him out. First of all, Zuza is going to the grave, though. Miko pushing him there, and now Blast is going to get collapsed on in his E100. Very, very meaty, though, with his 3.1k HP. Even doing a shot onto Gursky, tracking him, and he will not be able to retaliate currently. And now Jordan 440 does not get rolled by Piotr, thus able to do another shot of damage, and Piotr seems to not have his repair kit currently, so I guess the IS-4 is going to stay Amoract here, but now Blast really feeling the hurt, as there is 4 Goodnight Nomi tanks around him, just shooting him from every possible angle. Obviously, the armor of the E100 not holding up to this kind of pressure. He's going to be the next one.
Yeah, that's the S-Kungs coming in, and the S-Kungs coming in strong, and now Piotr's struggling, because as you mentioned, no repair kit available, and now these IS-4s are coming into a situation that's not ideal for them. Ilian picking up Piotr, and this is the S-Kungs that are making short work of those tanks. Yeah, they were struggling against the 100, right, at first, because he was kind of angling, he was kind of away from them, they weren't able to get the angles, but then once they were actually able to push, once they were actually able to get that DPM, that sustained fire, nice shot from Ilian on towards Yuzek there. Once they're able to get that sustained fire on towards those IS-4s, they just win the engagement because these guys are not bouncing that many shots. I mean, some shots are not always that easy, but in this scenario, the S-Cook is just a better tank than the IS-4.
Yeah, also because you have that lower alpha damage, but I think higher DPM that you can just spread amongst the enemy. And now the 50B T-Sec here clipping out onto Twist, has one last shell remaining. Nice shot onto the back of the turret, but now the Batchat is there to clip out onto the reloading 50B, and only Monster Yo left for the side of Invil Holovnitsy, and Goodnight Nomi coming in strong in the first round of Invil's
That's exactly what they need, man. Yeah. That's exactly what they need, man, here. Losing Jordan, but again, they're also doing the thing that you see a lot of teams. Actually, they were the first one to react. So they spotted the IS-4's crossing towards 1-2 line, and then they started repushing 8 line. And Zuza in his IS-4 couldn't really go anywhere. And even Sokol coming down the middle in a Batchat, you rarely see something like that. He gave him 2, Elin gave him 1. He got shot by the 3 line as well. He got shot by the S-Kongs, dropping him low. And you can see, as a result of that, Zuza doing 519 damage only in that IS-4. The blaster in the 100 does 1.6, but you know those S-Kungs, man, look at them. Like, I mean, Miku is the lowest one here, but he also has 2 kills, right? But then Gursky, Sokol, Marcel, double S-Kung, and then Elin in the E3, you should say that he should have possibly done 6k, right? We can fault him for the first shot that he, like, not the first, the second shot that he realistically should have hit, right? But after that, making crucial plays and crucial connections. So good stuff from Elin there, good stuff from his team in general as well. Catching Holovnitsy off guard. That's exactly what they needed on Himmels. I honestly think, because of the pick of Tundra, which I don't know how ready Holovnitsy is for, that they were looking to pick up at least 1 on Himmelsdorf, just like Tropical was probably looking to pick 1 on Ghostan in our previous matchup, and they have done that. So I think for them, mission accomplished on Himmelsdorf, and now aim for the 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, the following round now is going to be a bonus round, basically, for good.
I mean, bonus round is a big word, but, you know, I think in their case, they probably also looked at Himmelsdorf as Holovnitsy's bastion, a stronghold for them, where they're very good on, and taking 1 away from them is a good start.
Also,
maybe even shaking them a little bit.
Another thought about the E3 by Ilian. Not only did he come top on damage, but that also means his decision-making as to where to go with the E3 was completely
Yeah, because the E3 is really slow, man. You you have to...
So actually, while an E3 might seem very easy to play because it's a very straightforward tank, I think actually on Himmelsdorf it's super hard to play because the decision-making of where you want to go is actually going to determine if
you can sometimes get stuck in bad situations where you're like, oh, this might be a good play, you drive there. By the time you get there, they're no longer in position where you can shoot, and then you're like in kind of a crossfire, and it's like, Predictions, though. 5-1 Magical, 5-2 Insane and Kihan, and I say 5-3, but we're all going for Holovnitsy here.
I mean...
I made a mistake, man. I said I was going to cheer for Goodnight Nomi. I mean, I can predict for Holovnitsy and still cheer for Goodnight Nomi, right?
We see the bias coming through now. Anyway, round number 2 in between Goodnight Nomi and Invil Holovnitsy. Goodnight Nomi is so far surprising us positively. The same cannot be said for Invil Holovnitsy, who are down 0-1, and now they are defending here, I guess, with 5 IS-4s, 1277, and the Batchat. Goodnight Nomi attacking with 1B, double IS-4, triple S-Conk, and the Batchat as well.
Yeah, it's the matchup of S-Kongs against IS-4s, right? Having those 5 IS-4s, the 1277 and the Bat, facing off against the 50B, the Batchat, the triple S-Kong, and the double IS-4 of Goodnight Nomi. It's again a factor of can Goodnight Nomi really get these S-Kongs into positions where they're able to fight with the IS-4s?
And we do see a slight split going on by Invil Holovnici, sending double IS-4 towards 2 and 3 line respectively, and the rest of the tanks getting sent to the 2-cap, with the Batchat doing the same play we just saw out of Sokol previously, basically spotting the 5-line cross. There is no one crossing though. It's an immediate, at the moment, 8-line, but I guess it's going to be a G-line commitment by the 4 heavy tanks that we see here currently, forming a trap for the IS-4, which is coming into the 8-line.
Piotr, I think it's Piotr. Oh, Piotr getting caught. That's something we haven't seen in a while. This is why teams used to not send tanks straight there anymore when they're committing onto that hold on G2. Ilian, obviously one of the old guards in this game, a lot of experience, has done this in previous formats, in previous tournaments, right? Punishing that crossing, bringing it up from the good old playbook. And Piotr, 938 HP as a result of it.
Yeah, to just bite the bullet here and cross over, because as soon as you commit to the cross, there's nothing you realistically can do anymore. Now Blast is backwards side-scraping here in the 8-line, so any kind of commitment by the attackers would be very, very hard for the time being, also with T-Shek being in the hull down here. We're gonna have to wait and see. That was a good opening so far by Goodnight Nomi, but Invil Holovnici obviously far from beaten currently.
Far from beaten, but it's a good opening for Goodnight Nomi though. They can now start rotating across. They can take the S-Kongs back towards 1-2 line, perhaps, and then push out Piotr one way or another. But for now, they're taking it slow. They're taking it steady. They're just chilling. They're just waiting. They're seeing what the angles are that the team of Invil Holovnici controls. Ilian there needs to be careful with that peak, though. But a very heavy 8-line commitment, though, here from Invil Holovnici. If you see the staggered line of defenses there, Kihan, E8, D8, C8, and then B7 to watch the 0-line crossing as well.
Yeah, that would not be something fun to push into, and I think Goodnight Nomi is doing well to respect that and not push into there. They're now taking some more positions in the southern part of the map here. And the IS-4 Jordan now getting spotted out by Karolf, who is sitting in the window. Karolf needs to be careful, though, because the hill is in firm control of the team in blue. They might send tanks there to possibly give side shots. But yeah, the good start here by Goodnight Nomi. Now they're not really doing anything afterwards with it currently as it stands.
Yeah, I mean, they sent Monster towards the south for Invil Holovnici to get some info. But I think Goodnight Nomi is just kind of discussing how they're going to approach this, how they're going to try and make an attack work from this position. I think 1-2 line is yet still the biggest opening, right? Group up, get 1-2, but then you have to be careful from Twisted position. But it looked like Goodnight Nomi wants to assault the 8-line, which I think is probably the hardest option for them.
Yeah, the thing is...
I don't remember how many of those tanks they have seen, but T-Sec will pull inside the courtyard, and then the rest of the tanks from behind will do the same. Every time you push them, they will back off, creating different layers of crossfire.
And yeah, the thing is also, if they start crossing into the 8-line, then Piotr from the side will be able to give side shots first of all. And then they have triple IS-4 waiting for them with one more in D5 that could give crossfire as soon as they get to the D line. Now, Piotr not giving a shot, actually, for that cross. And now they are...
Oh, but the 277 is left early. The 277 left early, and now Sokol and Marcel are actually able to come from this angle kind of unspotted. Actually able to get perhaps an angle of approach on towards Zuza here if they can make the connections work, but they're kind of splitting their fire right now. A little bit of indecisiveness between Sokol, between Marcel, first shooting the IS-4, then shooting the 277, and this kind of caught Holovnici off guard yet again. Sokol trying to survive there in his batch at Marcel, now on reload. But here comes the hit squad for the side of Goodnight Nomi coming around the corner. Blast, ramming Sokol to death, picking him up. Now Marcel not faring much better himself in that 50B, trying to make it out, trying to survive. It's very important that he does. If you could get another clip of here, that would be huge if Marcel could make it, but he's down towards the one shot. I don't think that he will, and it's so far still quite even in this game, but Marcel going down in that 50B, but now Miku chasing down, T6 Zuza getting blown up. Ilian is, however, Amarak, and Monster is now clipping as well. in his bad shot. So they have a little bit of time here to work with. Ilian needs some help though, one way or another. He cannot face off against Karolf right now.
Yeah, and I think Karolf, he does have all the skills available, as those are press accounts, so he will see that Ilian is Emmerich, so he should repeat that very, very soonish and pick up Ilian. And then it's going to be a 4v4. And indeed, he even gets the blow up, and the turret lands on top of Karolf. He gets rid of it, but now he's in a 1v2 against Jordan, and
Monster's
twist
coming
both
back,
of their IS
Monster's
4s.
coming back in from behind with his 5 shells available. Is he on time? He comes here for Jordan, and he's gonna look to hit the first one. He does actually. Can Karolf get one in as well? Monster now, good connections there coming out, has 3 shells available, tries to make them on towards Twist. If he could get some high rolls here, that would be amazing. Another ammo rack here. Monster getting shot by Shido even. I think that was from Mineros. Takes another one. Half HP gone, and still with all of this, Kihan, even with what you could say is a fail from the bat and the 50, another nice connection from Mineros. That hash on Eskung, absolutely disgusting when it actually connects. One more Mineros, do it to him. He does. Picks up Monster on his escape, and even with what you could say was not a good engagement from the 50B and the ban, I think we can be honest about that. Goodnight Nomi still making this 8-line push as a group work.
Yeah, and also, I would agree with you, the Bat and the 50B were a bit early to engage, but still they did get off their clips.
It wasn't even early, Kihan. It was just like they started shooting the IS-4, the 50B even missed one, and then they switched to the 277 and they missed him again. I don't think that they got the good. I think the 50B did maybe 2-3 shots, and I think the Band did no more than 3 either.
We're going to see in the post-battle results. First of all, though, we can see Piotr picking up one Super Kong from the enemy team, but the cap bell is has been started quite some time ago, and Mineros and Twist, they aren't even peeking here. They're just letting the time run down to secure their 2-0 over Invil Holovnitsy.
Hey, that's unexpected, man. Unexpected altogether, and this might put Holovnitsy on a tilting course, and hoping that the ship does not really tip over and go down with all of the inhabitants still in it for them in this match. Good stuff. Good night, Nomi. I thought, honestly, the 8-line push would be the hardest to pull off for them, and it did look extremely hard. I feel like 1-2 would have been maybe easier, but maybe they were aware of more things than we were. The 2-way, they couldn't do that. But a good start on Piotr there, making him kind of useless in this game. But he's still at 2.2k. Good damage spread though for Invil, right? Good damage spread nonetheless.
All right, so
but look at the bad shot.
I guess he was sniping from the hill before the engagement.
Yeah, he sniped from the hill before, and the 50B did a clip before that as well.
Yeah, and he reloaded just before dying and did one more shot of damage. So I guess he did 1 clip plus 1 there and sniped from the hill. I guess those were snipes onto the IS-4 of Piotr.
I think. Yeah, maybe. I think he only did 3. I'm not sure. But also, it's also the fact that if they're actually able to combine their fire even onto the IS-4 and kill him, because, like, you know, the potential of the Band 2k he had, right? The potential of the 50B 1.8, it is a dead IS-4.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's annoying for them to shoot at it.
With
but when they
the
start
1.8,
shooting,
are you already accounting for the RAM that the 50B is going to do, or?
Yeah, of course.
Exactly. Okay, I see how it is. All right.
I kick yeah. I'll remember that one. Right? I'm not okay.
Did you
I'll
put
remember
heavy
that
charges on your 50B, or?
Dude, imagine we give them campaign boosters, man, just for the memes, dude. Heavy charges, fence directive, super heavy spall liner. Oh God, how I loved it. It's the greatest feeling in the world. There is no greater feeling in the world than when you load into a Clan Wars battle and the first enemy gets spotted and he has this little plus, like this little green arrow thing next to his name. Yeah, this green arrow.
God, you know what's also a great feeling?
One of the world's best feelings.
You know what's also a great feeling? Being up to 0. That is a good night.
No, I thought you were gonna say being on a ski vacation during the campaign.
I mean, you know, skiing is a nice thing to do. Anyway, map pick and bans. We just saw Goodnight Nomi taking, I would say, a convincing, surprising, but good-looking 2-0 over Invil Holovnitsy. Now the map pick switches, and we are heading over to Tundra, a map which we have
usually a hard 1-1. Usually a hard 1-1.
Yeah, and
I keep saying it every tournament, but it never works out for some reason. I feel like attacking on this map is by far easier than defending.
Yeah, I think Tundra is probably the most attack-favored map in the pool currently.
Yeah, but somehow people keep failing on attack, so Last tournament, a lot of teams failed on attack.
I mean, last tournament, if I recall correctly, also a lot of teams failed penetrating enemy tanks on Tundra, and that was mostly what it was down to, not the map itself. Anyway, 2-0 for Goodnight Nomi, so this means in this best of 9, if Goodnight Nomi actually converts their own map pick here 2-0 as well, they would be on match point. We are by far not yet there yet though. First of all, let's take a look at the lineups here. Invil Hall of Nitsi defending with triple Kran, double S-Conk, 1 Batchat and an IS-7. Meanwhile, Goodnight Nomi coming in with double 113, a Kran, a 277, double S-Conk and a CS. And with that attacking setup, it's not that fast, especially considering the double S-Conk Darky. So I guess an all-in straight from the start is out of the question.
Well, and you can still solve the south with this if you wanted to straight. With this lineup, the S-Conks will come behind, but they're usually staying behind anyways. But it looks to be just a regular split. We don't see any 60 TPs, for example, which we do sometimes see. On this map, it's just going to be S-Conks, but a lot of crans here for Invil Hall of Nitsi. And you got to imagine, to make those crans work, if you draw the cran out of that hold-on position, it's, once the cran gets drawn out of the hold-on position, it's not that good anymore. But Piotr is taking a very, very aggressive stance, which we don't see very often from a cran. It's not something we regularly see, actually.
Now let's take a look. What can cover him? Realistically, from the north, the S-Conk plus 1 more heavy tank. I guess that's the second Kran. And then the S-Conk in D4. They could cover him if he gets collapsed upon, so that would be very costly for Goodnight Nomi. Also, there is a very interesting decision by Invil Hall of Nitsi. The D4 tank, it's a super conk. The 60 TP in that position is also very common.
Yeah, I mentioned in the beginning that we're not seeing a 60 TP there, tank that we see often, but it's just going to be S-Conk against S-Conk right now, which is fine for both of them. It's annoying if you're in an S-Conk and you got a 60 TP facing you, because then you have to somehow beat the 60 TP, and one mistake is minus 750. But in this regard, it's S-Conk against S-Conk, so Marcel and Zuzak could just trade it out at the end of the day if it came down to it. And I think they spotted out Piotr now, actually, in his Kranwagen. Yeah, they finally see him. It took him a while. And immediately they're rotating upon it.
I mean, the Batchat monster by Invil Hall of Nitsi, he took a very, very aggressive push at the start. So Invil Hall of Nitsi at the start able to gather a lot of info for basically free. But obviously, as the match progresses, that info is going to become less and less valuable. Because as we see, the tanks can rotate and just appear somewhere else. And now we'll have to see what they are planning to do here. It is their map pick, but so far I haven't really seen anything that would warrant it. Like nothing ingenious, but maybe that is to come now, as we see the tanks by Goodnight Nomi just getting concentrated in the north here for a possible push.
Yeah, I think they're just going to try and overrun Piotr from two sides. So it's a two-pronged attack, right? Sokol, Ilian, Mineros from the right, Twist from the left. Piotr goes back, he gets clipped by the Kran. That is the aim of the game here. That's the name of the game. And already you can see Ilian pushing up, pushing over, taking the brunt of the damage here. Piotr is making his clip. He is connecting those shells, but he's also only going to do one clip. And that's a dead Kranwagen. And Ilian is still alive at this point. And now Yuzek is somehow scrambling to get into a position. But look at the damage he is taking. Yuzek is not going to make it out of this one here, as now he's 67 HP. But even if he does survive, this is great for Goodnight Nomi. 3k up. Piotr doing one clip and dying. Ilian even surviving. Gordon needs to be careful here. He may have bitten off a little bit too much of the piece of cake that he wants to get and is now backing off back into safety. But still, yet again, good stuff from Hall of Nitsi here. From Goodnight Nomi. Nice shot from Jordan there on towards Kerov as well, and the push is not about to stop. There's nobody contesting in A2. Meneros, Sokol, Jordan, they want Kerov, they want Yuzek, they want to make this 3-0 here as Yuzek goes down. Kerov is the next to follow as he gets rammed, to then adding insult to injury. And now Marcel just pushing up and over, knowing that he can just simply get away with this. And Hall of Nitsi here, the tournament winners from the last Wot7, are getting completely destroyed by Goodnight Nomi.
Yeah, I mean, the grim darkness of tournament elimination looming just over the horizon here. Goodnight Nomi well and truly on track here to throw the reigning champions out of that one, blast the next one here to follow, and then it will only be Monster left here, probably wondering where it all went wrong, so horribly wrong. Yeah, Piotr, he was able to do one clip, but the punishment coming there, it wasn't really there. Then the rotation by the S-Conk, or rather the The fleeing by the S-Kong was much too late as he was reduced down to 67 HP, and Goodnight Nomi here probably surprising us all with that convincing 3-0 lead that they're
I don't know
now
what
gonna
this
have.
defense was. I mean, Goodnight Nomi here doing well. I mean, Monster picks up another kill for the scoreboard. But this defense from Holovenitsi was exposed, was flawed, had many openings. It means South was yet still open to be, exploited, used even for Goodnight Nomi if they chose to. But they went for the straight north push, and you could see that Piotr, he does his clip of damage, right, in that Kranwagen. But one clip in the Kran, that is not even your own HP and damage. And my senpai told me that I should always aim to do my HP and damage, and then I'm having a good game. So if you can't do that, it's not really worth the position, because once Piotr falls, it's like domino effect, right?
Yeah, they
Piotr
just snowball it out of control.
Yuzek falls after because he has to run away. And that it's not just the fact, yeah, they traded okay for Piotr, because Eden was basically dead. Would have been great if they killed him. But it's more the fact that Yuzek then has to run away because he no longer has the required support. So he falls, the next domino, and the rest of the team just crumbles after.
Yeah, and I guess that is going to be reflected in the post-battle results screen as well, that basically the attack by Goodnight Nomi was so swift and so unexpected that, yeah, actually, none of the Kranwagens did, I guess, more than a full clip.
They all did one clip of damage.
Yeah, and
one.
That is not what you want to have. You want to do like one clip onto them approaching, and then
Dude,
you
this
don't
really
want
looks,
them to overpush.
This really looks like my average team in randoms right now when everybody's grinding their battle pass and I have 3 Kranwagens on my team.
I mean, that happens as well in ranked if you don't sprint and you just wait a few days and start playing them.
True, but I'm doing RHM only this ranked game.
Oh,
so.
good lord.
Yeah.
How often are you going to flip? Are you going to make a flip counter on your
that was my question as well yesterday, man. I was like, how many times am I realistically going to flip in the RHM?
That could be, interesting counter. Anyway, there is another interesting counter. See how smooth these transitions are. And that one is currently saying 3-0 for Goodnight Nomi.
Yeah, smooth as sandpaper, Kian.
Okay, dude. Yeah, 3-0. And the map pick for Goodnight Nomi isn't even over. Now they're switching over to defense, which is harder. As everyone says, on this map of Tundra. I think in the group stage we saw one of the teams basically trying to counter this by straight pushing north as the defenders.
Doesn't work.
And they got torn. Yeah, they got torn to shreds for it.
Dude, I've tried this as well, man. You push north, you die. You push south, you die. The thing is, Tundra does not allow for an aggressive play from the defender, but it also doesn't allow for both bases to be covered by the defender at the same time. Because as much as the map is small, it's also big in the distance between the two caps.
And that is
right?
mostly what is hurting the defenders. Map video coming, so I guess the secret as to the tanks being picked is going to be solved soon. I'm personally hoping for a 60 TP because I think in the prediction game for the tournament I had a rather high number of tanks. So that would be another one. I don't think we've seen a 60 TP yet in the players.
Yeah, but you've had a 13-105 though, for example, Kian.
True. I can't remember exactly how many tanks I actually picked, but yeah, setups should be there soon. So Inbil Holovnitsi now gonna attack on Tundra, and they are doing so with 5 113s, a Kranwagen and a Batchat. Goodnight Nomi on the defense with a Batchat, double VZ, double S-Kong, 1277 and 113. That Inbil Holovnitsi setup, Darky, it's very, very aggressive and in your face.
Yeah, that's 5 113s, the Kran and the Monster, Batchan. They can go anywhere in the beginning of the game. They can split the map, they can control the map, they can push the map if they want to. It's kind of a question, what do they go for? Right? What kind of game do they want to play? And it doesn't look like it's a straight push either. It's a split map kind of game in the beginning. Feel out what the Goodnight Nomi is doing, check out their positions, maybe figure out a mistake in their way they have positioned their tanks and exploit it to the max, if possible.
Also, that Batchat bush by Sokol, I'm not a fan. It was blinded multiple times in the group stage already. It is also the only bush that is around there. So if tanks get spotted in certain positions, they know someone must be there. And indeed, now he's doing the correct play and leaving. Double VZ and the 3 line, those are basically to farm the push on the J or K line should it come by the attackers, but we've also seen some VZs not really able to connect their shots. Miku now even on reload here. And in Holovnici, I guess they're
But,
taking their time here to just feed.
Look at Marcel's position compared to the usual position of the tanks around that area. Marcel is way more progressed, really. Usually you see them play behind their June. Marcel is playing at their hold down because he has Elian in support. It's an interesting change to what we would usually see from players in that position.
Also, where the cap is normally, like in the normal random battles, you have that stone there, and that is basically also covering Marcel towards the position of where Gurski is, should they push the north. You can survive quite long in this position. Now the backwards side-scraping Super Conqueror here, not seeing the Batcher currently, but I believe Monster was spotted earlier, so he knows that someone is there at least, and I think he knows also that he would spot him crossing back if he doesn't do it at the red line. And in Holovnici so far having taken damage on Tsek and Piotr, unable to retaliate, and really, I think right now they're just, mustering their forces to push here in the south.
Yeah, they have realized the positions from Goodnight Nomi, that they're heavily north stacked and are going to be assaulting the southern cap, most likely, I would say. Piotr's now coming as well. The question is a little bit here, how much can the VZs really do on this crossing? Can they get their clips off?
We'll see. I mean, both of them fully loaded and prepared. Armed and dangerous, you could say. Then again, with that VZ gun, it's not the most accurate. It tends to be kind of derpy sometimes. Tsek actually taking another shot here.
Taking a full clip?
And
taking
also
another shot from Twist as well?
My goodness.
What is Tsek really doing here? Marcel now peeking out. Can Marcel even get the kill? Doesn't look like it right now. Now the attack will get sprung in the south, though. The VZ is on reload, but coming off it very soon, and it doesn't look like Holovnici really expected this map to even be played so far, because what they are doing is heavily punished at every given point by Goodnight Nomi. Now Zuza crossing takes a shot by Elian. They have the cap though. Is Holovnici trying to push the VZs here? Up and over?
I guess so, as both of the VZs are on reload. No, they're actually trying to put triple 113 in the cap. Yuzek now leaving again, so a bit of miscommunication maybe going on. Sokol with the Batchat, also the possible threat of the flank, and that is going to come as the 113s are now over-pushing onto the VZs. So far not finding the engagement they want, though, bleeding heavily, and in comes the repush on the upper side by the tanks from Goodnight Nomi. One of the 113s already falling, the second one down to 700 HP, and I think Goodnight Nomi leading 3k HP. Ducky, they've done it here on their defense.
It does look like Goodnight Nomi is showing Holovnici how Tundra is played as they went for the straight repush blast. Piotr, Zuza are down. Karol to follow to the grave, but he picks up Jordan before he goes. Now Yuzek, Tsek, Monster, the last three standing here as Goodnight Nomi have decimated the likes of Invil on the Himmels, and now repeat performance here on Tundra, and you could say not even really close. And I don't think Holovnici expected to play Tundra, because their Tundra looks like it needs to be sent back to the drawing board.
Indeed, Goodnight Nomi here with a stunning performance. I don't think any one of us saw that coming here. Immediate match point after the lowest possible score of games. It's gonna be a 4-0 in between both of those Polish teams. And the victors of the previous tournament, they look shocked. They look not ready at all for what is being thrown at them currently here. This is just a matter of time until Monster finally gets picked up here. Marcel already farming him. Gurski coming down possibly soon with the 277, and then it's all going to be over here on Tundra. 4-0. My gosh. That is unexpected. If it was a 4-0 for Invil Holovnici, I would have maybe said, yeah, okay. But this scoreline, complete.
I don't think anybody expected 4-0 at all, to be honest, between these two. And it's just, yeah, unbelievable, actually. One more round and the previous tournament winners are out, dude.
Yeah, it is an upset of quite large proportions, actually, here, as we see, yeah, the damage numbers coming in. There is, yeah, the 113s at the bottom that got pushed upon, and yeah, that was just great stuff coming out from the tanks of Goodnight Nomi, as their repush was completely on point.
Yeah, I think the repush was very easy for them. to be honest. It's the fact that Holvanitsi felt like they had to push into those VZs to try and kill them, but
They
Goodnight
didn't
Nomi
even get
simply
them.
came.
Like, they weren't able to collapse upon them.
Yeah, I mean, the repush was perfect for Goodnight Nomi, but it was also the obvious one. It's more like the push from Holvanitsi. They felt like they were forced to just push this, but they also don't really have any more choices at that point because they just crossed over with all their tanks. So they were going to get flanked from all the sides either way.
Alright, back to the map pick and bans, and we have witnessed 2 maps up until now in this match here, Himmelsdorf and Tundra. We are now gonna head over to Mainz, and once again that is Invil Holovnitsi's map pick. Mainz also sort of a 1-1 map, normally, but with a defender that time holding the better cards here. So yeah, map picked by Invil. So far on their map picks they didn't look as good, but maybe they've prepared something interesting on Mainz.
Yeah, they looked a little bit lost on Tundra here. Good pick from Goodnight Nomi. Seems to have put the time and the work in to actually make it work. And yeah, they deservedly are up 4-0, man. You could say that Holovnitsi could have won at least one of those games, but...
Then again, I feel like all of the games we saw so far had the deserved winner with the blue logo.
True.
That was... yeah. I mean, we're witnessing an upset currently, and we already had a match today, which was 4-0, right? The first one, and then the team that was down and with their backs against the wall actually managed to put up 2 straight rounds after this, and this is exactly what Invil Holovnitsi are gonna need here as we're heading into Mainz, because otherwise they're gonna be out of the tournament. And yeah, once again, our casters' predictions, I mean, all of them down the drain anyway, but we might not even get the team right.
Looking like this, all our predictions are out of the window either way, by the way.
Yeah.
No matter what.
It is down the drain, as I said. Alright, Invil Holovnitsi, they are now gonna attack first, by the way, on Mainz. And
they are gonna be attacking first, and... yeah, well, they attack the harder side on Mainz, for sure. Goodnight Nomi here. IS4, IS7, double S-Kong, VZ, BAT, and CS63 against the 22277, the S-Kong, the E5, the BAT, and the CS from Invil Holovnitsi.
That E5 sort of screams, I guess, mid-commitment, but I don't think they can really do it against the setup of Goodnight Nomi, because the double S-Kong could also farm them in turn. So we're gonna have to see. Yeah, Goodnight...
I mean, they have to from Holovnitsi's side. They can't just not contest the middle. They have to push 1-2 for that.
Yeah.
Which they can't do against Goodnight Nomi's lineup, because it has the BAT, the CS to counter the 1-2 line. Well, Marcel, let's see if he can actually get a shot here in his VZ55. Does he connect it? Yes, nice one onto the side of Karov.
And he immediately goes on reload after seeing no one is crossing immediately. Now Zusa is here to peek onto Jordan and Marcel. He does not connect his shot. So the attackers have no position off the hill. Does it really help them? I guess if they get 2 7-7s up, that could be really good. But Elian, look at that repush on the 2 line with the Batchat not spotted yet.
He's just trying to get the forward bush to get all info on the A-line crossing.
And the info he will have indeed now. I guess if he tried to go further, then the E5 would maybe spot him. But that is a lot of information gained for the side of Goodnight Nomi.
Yeah, he will have to give it up soon as well, though. It's the kind of position that you can be, but once you spot down to a singular tank, you
need to leave after that.
You need to leave, because there's only really 2 bushes that you can play. One is on E2, and the other one's on the lower side. And the lower side, where Elian is the most commonly played one.
Oh, Monster making it off the hill without losing HP here. Blasno taking a shot by, I guess, the S-Kong, Miku, from the back. So not going to keep over-peaking like this. And I guess Monster and Piotr, they're looking to... I guess make some sort of commitment onto the 1 cap here, as Karolf also getting ready to drop off. I love how our observers are now taking a look at every single one of those drop-offs. He's not committing to the drop-off quite yet.
He's just chilling and waiting.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like he's not sure. He's basically like me when I go swimming and I jump off one of those towers because I don't like heights. You know, I'm also going forwards and backwards until I finally, jump off. But yeah, Karolf also making it down without HP lost. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the E5 in the 9 line, simply because it has such a huge cupola, which can be exploited by the IS-4. That is also a rather interesting IS-4 position, I think.
Which one exactly are you talking about?
The H7 one?
H7? Well, the reason why Twist is up there, Keyhand, is because from there you can also shoot the 1-2 line crossing. When you, first of all, you can sit there where he is, but second of all, if you look towards the left of his position, you also have a shot when they drive through 1-2, which you don't have from under the hill. But a nice connection there on towards Karolf, though.
Yes, Karolf and Piotr both taking shots here for going towards the 1 cap, and I think the intentions of Indel Holovnici here could not be clearer.
This
to
damage,
the side of
though.
Goodnight Nomi. Yeah, damage already huge, like 4k HP difference, and I think Jordan and Marcel...
They're having Monster on the cap, too. If you remember, they've played something like this before. Monster on the cap, we already mentioned that every pine tree, it's wine tree, or wine stalk even, in that cap circle...
provides camo.
Provides camo. So they can't actually spot him, which makes it really hard for them here to get the cap spotted. But they have 3 tanks, so they have Jordan, Twist, and Marcel. But right now, you know, they are still up in HP, but Elian on the big flank here is not going to be resetting this cap either.
Yeah, Elian is not going to be in time, and it is, I guess, up to the tanks below the hill that they have to basically make the resets happen. They know about the location of one of the tanks in the cap, yes, the CS, but the Batchat, yeah, they just need to either blind shot or find it somehow, and for finding it, they will need to have to commit a lot of HP, and that 4k HP difference, it's dwindled down to 2k.
Dwindled down to 2k, even, at least they're getting ammo racked, I know, but now it's the push under coming in for the side of GX Nomi. But look at Piotr, gets struck, gets held, can they get the finish? No, he barely escapes back behind the building, and that is still 3k HP deficit for the side of Holovnici, and Piotr now down towards a one-shot. Jordan looks to try and get the kill here. Can he get it? He does! Piotr goes down. Karolf down towards 536 as well. Monster now spotted out, trying to clip Jordan. Jordan surviving on 426 HP. But surviving, and this is great because Elian's now behind him as well, and I think he can start clipping
Karolf
towards
took
D6, for example. Shot. This is terrible for Holovnici, I'll say it now. It's absolutely terrible. Elian has a good position here as well, locking them down into those positions. He can clip the, for example, T-Sec when he comes back. And if he does, man, he's starting to clip T-Sec now. He doesn't connect that one, though. He's reloading now, but Holovnici is in absolute shambles right now. They can restart the cap, but without Piotr in that position, right? Without Piotr at that building, which I don't even know why it's an E5 instead of an IS4, personally.
I guess for the initial engagement at the hill, they prefer the E5 over the IS4, but then,
you saw what happened to him later.
I mean, Monster and Karolf have gone back to their initial plan of capping.
They can just push under the hill again, Kihan, because look at the time. It's 2 minutes and 30 seconds. If they push Monster off of the cap once more, then you know, Monster gets pushed off the cap and it's GG, basically. I mean, if Monster gets spotted at any given point, it takes a lot of damage.
Yeah, also Karolf is a one-shot.
They can just commit the bodies. They can literally just commit the bodies on pushing under the hill, by the way.
Because Elian is never gonna die in time.
Elian, Krugorski's not gonna die. Miku's not gonna die. Sokol ain't even gonna die, to be honest.
I mean, look, they're not even committing the S-Conk Miku. He's just chilling.
They have nothing to stop this under the hill commitment. They have nothing to stop it, because here it goes again. Twist, Marcel, and Jordan moving up once more. Once they spot out Monster, that is the cap halted. That would also mean that they can no longer single cap. There we go. 1 minute 40 seconds. They can no longer single cap this base. They pick up Karolf in his CS, and in the meantime, there's a push from 277s under the hill. Marcel, Twist, and Jordan just going forward, trying to pick up Monster here in his bat. Monster down towards a one-shot. Monster still yet surviving, though, but Elian now re-pushing back towards the hill, knowing that he can clean up Yuzek here. It is S-Conk in the 1v1. A good shot there on towards the first track wheel of that S-Conk. Good nice connection coming up as well. Gonna pick it up here, and he does finish it up, and it's just 2 tanks left standing here for Holovnici, the previous tournament winners, getting absolutely destroyed, absolutely deservedly getting sent back out of this tournament by a Goodnight Nomi team who came in strong, who came in swinging, who came out absolutely winning.
Indeed, nice rep there, as we are wrapping up this match here with a scoreline that no one expected. Probably not even Goodnight Nomi themselves. 5-0 the final result here in that second semi-final. And Postro, they probably had some popcorn prepared for this game here, as they are going to be the ones meeting Goodnight Nomi, but they probably didn't expect to have to play again so soon. 5-0 is the final scoreline. I have to say it this often because it's just incredible at this point here to see the previous reigning champions. I guess they are going to be reigning for an hour or so more, but yeah, they are definitely dethroned, and we can see that, yeah, apart from Yuzek and Monster, no one was really able to do their own HP and damage, and I think a lot of the damage by Monster was at the end when the game was already over.
Yeah, good stuff there. Once the Piotr died in his E5, it was really bad for Holovnici. Like, really, really bad. They were no longer in position where they could really do much from. And you could see once Piotr dies that under the hill, right? Piotr is the one that's supposed to punish this the whole time. Once he dies, they can just freely drive under the hill and pressure Monster off of this camp.
Yeah, and with this...
Also, I don't understand why Karov is the one at the other building instead of, like, a 277 side scraping off the building. Like, why is a CS on the corner of the building and not another heavy that can punish for 490? Because in a CS, can't really side scrape.
I guess the tank choices are mostly down that they...
But they had double 277 still on the hill, Kihan, and, like...
I'm just trying to make sense of it, and I think the tank picks were, as well as the 5, mostly down to them definitely wanting to win that initial engagement that could possibly erupt in the middle. But I think they gambled so heavily on winning that they just, you know, didn't have the right tanks for the things they were doing after moving forward. Anyway, you can see both of us are still pretty confused trying to make sense of what happened, but there are two beautiful people which are there to do exactly that. So I guess let's head over to Insane and Magical.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Kihan and Deki, about that. That was actually a crazy match. I enjoyed a lot watching that Goodnight Nomi team really surprising us. Clean sweep 5-0 against Holovnici, the team that we expected on the top there. Amazing performance from Goodnight Nomi Magic.
It is still leaving me without words. I mean, new ideas from Goodnight Nomi. Yes, yesterday they clean sweep CSA. Sorry. Yes, great play by Goodnight Nomi. Great ideas from them coming in. New ideas as well. The E3 on Himmelsdorf, the tapping of the IS4 on the cross. All of these new and good ideas, they are definitely well prepared, and they executed their game plan perfectly. I'm without words.
I think that's the first team that I can actually confidently say that was really well prepared. Like, they had a plan all the time. Also, I think that Holovnici was pretty passive. They had their tactics set, and for the side of Goodnight Nomi, you had the counterplays, and that was really well executed from their side. Super clean, the calls, rotations, the shooting, really impressive stuff.
Indeed. I mean, it looks like Ilian is the player to watch out, because he was top damaging on Himmelsdorf, but apparently he can FC as well from what I've heard, so he can do it all truly.
Well, indeed, I guess Invil will have to take few coaching lessons with him to actually learn back how to play that 7v7 format, because that was just impressive. That was just amazing from that team. We didn't expect them just to perform that much, and that's also why we enjoy those tournaments, when we have teams like this that just come up with a great teamwork, team play, and the replays are really magic. As you can see, the first round on Himmelsdorf, it was Goodnight Nomi on the defense, and they had a pretty aggressive defense catching off Souza.
Indeed, they catched off Zuza. I mean, the batch shot going through the middle, Ducky mentioned it. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that either. I mean, of course, Holovnici is taking the tank on Ivan in return for that, but Goodnight Nomi does not stop. They just continue, they keep on going, and they take the tanks that Invil Holovnici is offering them one by one.
Yeah, well, that was pretty interesting with the E3 in the window. So, from the side of Invil, you were covering the hill. They had two tanks up here in case Goodnight Nomi would go here, but they actually decided to push on that G5, G6 tank from the side of Invil, taking him down, and then they would just continue utilizing the overmatch they have to just finish them off. Great stuff. Really impressive and interesting defense. That's something we already saw in the past with this C3 in the window, but the perfect timing for Goodnight Nomi that actually made it really beautiful to watch.
It is also very important to pick up their first round in such a convincing fashion as well, but they didn't stop there with the new ideas. Look at this aim on the cross with the 4 tanks of Goodnight Nomi. They just step Piotr, and Piotr is down to 1000 HP before the battle even begins.
I mean, great stuff from Goodnight Nomi. They know what Invil Lovnitsi may be playing, so straight up countering, and then this pincer attack. Really great also from the side of Goodnight Nomi, completely countering Invil Lovnitsi without any responses. Pretty passive plays, waiting for Goodnight Nomi to make the plays, and that's actually why they actually were struggling during that match, because they didn't have the lead at all. They were not taking decisions, they were just watching the enemy team just rolling over them, taking over matches after over matches, and you can see here 6 tanks rushing into 3 of the Invil Lovnitsi team, and Monster at the end left reloading with his bad shot, but from the side of Goodnight Nomi, you had like 3 tanks alive, and that was enough.
Goodnight Nomi just had all tanks in the fight in this 8-line encounter. They pincered it from 2 sides, like we have seen from Tropical already today, and they executed it well. I mean, you can't say much more than that. Here, Invil Holovnici just offering Piotr on a free platter to Goodnight Nomi. Piotr does a clip surely, but Goodnight Nomi just does not give a damn, and they continue on.
That was very questionable. Daki also mentioned it. I think that they have to just go back to draw like some new tactics on that map. That was a bit interesting. You were like thinking, is this good? Is this working? And then you have Goodnight Nomi being like, yo guys, we're gonna prove you that that tactic just doesn't work. We're just gonna roll over them, take our tanks overmatch after overmatch, and just completely demolish Invil Lovnitsi as they were taking already a 3-0 lead in that match.
Goodnight Nomi just didn't stop after Himmelsdorf. I mean, their playstyle on Himmelsdorf was also not stopping, just going over the tanks of Invil Holovnici. And in this case as well, they didn't stop at the first hurdle, they just went on, kept going until they had shells in their autoloaders, and when they reloaded again, they just pushed again, and picking up basically all tanks from Invil Holovnici without them being able to retaliate.
Good stuff from Goodnight Nomi. Very impressive, very exciting, because also sometimes we are pretty bored about what we're watching, but that was really nice from them. Next up, Tsek making a mistake, his positioning not on point, and the good shooting from Goodnight Nomi. The crossfire angles, Tsek dropping low, dropping one shot, and Invil Holovnici. They were forced into a reaction, so they were going for that base 2 push, but Goodnight Nomi just setting up perfectly, grouping up back to actually take the fight with the tank advantage they had, since Tsek was already one shot.
Tsek was already a one-shot, and Goodnight Nomi had like a 2000 HP advantage for the crossing. I mean, if Invil Holovnici does not go close, Goodnight Nomi's plan is still to repush into these tanks, but with them going close as well, they just went closer to their deaths. IMO, with Goodnight Nomi just coming back in and picking up the tanks of Invil that were close yet again, with Monster staying alive on full HP, similarly to other games in this matchup, where he's the only sole survivor at the end. Goodnight Nomi just winning decisively out on Tundra as well.
I think there is something worth to mention. Everyone's played from Goodnight Nomi. You can see something. They're taking over matches. They have more tanks than Invil Holovnici at one spot at one time, and they are utilizing that tank advantage, gun advantage to just take them down. They really taught them how to play the game at that stage. And then it was already match point. Mines. Goodnight Nomi on the defense, Holovnici on the attack. They are used to use an IS-4 where Piotr is. It would probably work out better, because from the side of Goodnight Nomi, look at the HP advantage, punishing all the tanks for taking positions. All of those tanks are on the base 1, and then this 3 push and the shooting on point.
I mean, Daki has mentioned as well that the E5 of Piotr, maybe it would have been better to have an IS-4 there, because the E5 just gets pushed. You can see the Goodnight Nomi tanks not giving a damn about what Invil Holovnici wants to do. They just go forward, pick up Piotr. Sokol from the island has reset angles actually towards Karolf, that's why only Monster was capping consistently. And after this overmatch, Ilian even got onto A4.
Yeah, that was a sneaky play going around at the bat and then going on the hill to take down Yutsek. And again, double the HP, domination. I'm pretty like amazed to say that, but I felt like there is not a single round where all of Nitsi was close to take the victory. It was just Goodnight Nomi teaching them rounds after rounds how to play every maps during that match. And honestly, that's pretty interesting because we didn't expect to have those two Polish teams in the finals. We probably had better hopes on teams like Indilgo and All of Nitsi, but we were right about something. It's going to be a Polish clash in the finals, but not the one we expected.
Indeed, not the one we expected. I definitely did not expect this one, but I mean, this game keeps surprising us all. And I think in a good manner, it was great to watch this game. As you said, the team of Goodnight Nomi really had ideas in every single game how to play the actual round, and it paid off very well for them.
I mean, yeah, well, since this tournament is following a single elimination bracket, we are going to have to say goodbye to Invil Lovnitsi. No losers bracket to save them this time. It's going to be Pozdro Potswitz against Goodnight Nomi, the two Polish teams, making it to the final. It's going to be a pretty interesting clash, right?
You know what, I'm interested in it mostly? Pozdro Pochvich always picks Ghost Town as their first pick. As it's BO9, the two teams pick first, so every team is capable of picking their strongest map. I think Pozdro is going to pick Ghost Town, but I'm interested to see what Goodnight Nomi has to offer on that one.
I mean, Pozdro picked Ghost Town and Goodnight Nomi picked Tundra, apparently. So no surprises there, right?
Absolutely no surprises there. I mean, Goodnight Nomi with a very strong, very decisive showing over in Holovnici. We have just seen it. I'm not sure if they have multiple tactics on it, but I guess we will see. That's definitely a question that they will answer for us. And yeah, Ghost Town as a pick from Pozdro, to be expected.
They were super solid on that map. They were performing really well on it. Tundra felt super good also for the side of Goodnight Nomi. The third and fourth map are going to be Prokarovka and Mine. So also maps that we have seen. We have seen like a pretty solid defense from Pozdro on Proho and a pretty solid defense from Goodnight Nomi on Mine. So interesting match coming up. But I guess Magic that we can just take a look at what Daki and Keyhand have to say about that upcoming match. Let's jump into the caster's desk.
Yes, well, hello there, and after me talking but not being heard, an experience...
Keyhand is a mute button, name a more iconic duo.
I mean, I love it so much, I even keep it on when I'm supposed to be talking. Anyway, I think both of us still sitting here a bit wondering how that last match went. Thanks a lot for the analysis here. But yeah, the winners of the past tournament being thrown out in the semifinals here, so it is going to be a Polish final, regardless. It's going to be...
But it's not an Invil final.
Pozdro against Goodnight Nomi, yes, but as you said, it's not going to be an Invil final. A lot of people probably...
Could still have an Invil winner, though.
We could still have an Invil winner, but Goodnight Nomi, at least in the past match, showing us that you don't need to be an Invil to games against them. And here we see the community predictions, 60% still going with Pozdro, 40% going with Goodnight Nomi. I personally went also with the way of Pozdro, but I was seriously second guessing myself after that performance which we saw. Basically the question is gonna be, was that like basically a one-timer? Did they have one strategy prepared per map? I know that used to be an issue for Invil, at least in 15v15s in the past, that they had one good tactic per map per side, and then they were basically out of steam. Or if they actually have prepared more stuff, because they expected to go through here. As we do see the map pick and ban, so it is, as already
Not a surprise that Ghost Town is coming out for Pozdro.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
No surprise there. Tundra, I think for Goodnight Nomi, no surprise there either. Prokarovka then being picked by Pozdro after Himmels and Steps bans. Then we see a Mines pick once again by Goodnight Nomi. We saw them there one round already. And should it come to it, we have Himmelsdorf as the tiebreaker. And personally, I love that tiebreaker because, what more iconic map for competitive is there?
Yeah, Himmel's tiebreaker is always nice if we will get there, though. But no surprises in these first maps, right? Ghost Town, Pozdro picking it. They've had a solid run on it this tournament, previous tournaments as well. They know how to play that map. We'll have to see how Goodnight Nomi approaches that one. Then Tundra, we saw Goodnight Nomi be very good on it against Holovenitsi, but I do want to, I think, note that yes, Goodnight Nomi made good reactions and rotations on Tundra, but I do feel like we could see maybe an under preparation from Holovenitsi on their Tundra because they looked a little bit lost and confused throughout their games on it.
Yeah, I mean, they just didn't seem prepared or ready. And even if it is your permaban for the group stage and like for the quarterfinals, then you should still prepare something for exactly for those semis and for the finals. And yeah, they didn't, or maybe they had something prepared, but it just wasn't up to standard. It just wasn't up to the standard set by Goodnight Nomi. But then again, that can be said about all the games that we just watched. And Goodnight Nomi, still after the round of 4, so basically the semifinals, the only team to not drop around yet in.
Yeah, actually unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, when you said it at first, it was like, yeah, okay, they beat CSA, 4-0. But now they've beaten Holovenitsi 5-0 as well. So they're definitely on a momentum high train here. If they, I think for what Pozdro needs to do here, and it's very important, is shut down Goodnight Nomi. When they come off a hot streak like this, winning 4-0 yesterday, winning 5-0 today, they're high on momentum. They are
high on
talking.
hopium, perhaps, as well.
They don't even need hopium right now. Neither do they need copium. That's more for the washed up streamers that can't get 5k DPG, such as Shakafa, myself.
Oh well, that list extends further than I would like it to. But yeah, in we go.
Kiara, I said 5k DPG. I didn't say 4.
What do you mean? 4 is basically...
you're on a different list altogether,
oh,
buddy.
My goodness. All right, Costas predictions coming in here. I still go with Pozdro here. All of you others very, very impressed, apparently, by what we just saw Goodnight Nomi do to Invel Holovenitsi in the past match. So 5-2, 5-2 for both Insane and you. Magic going with the 5-3. And we're gonna have to wait and see. Personally, on Ghost Town, I think Pozdro looked super, super solid in the matches that we saw them play on it. Not sure if we saw Goodnight Nomi yet yesterday on Ghost Town. But here come the lineups. It's going to be Goodnight Nomi attacking with triple IS4, triple S-Conk, and a CS. Pozdro, on the other hand, 1B, triple IS4, 1 IS7, an S-Conk, and a bat.
S-Conk and a bat, and then we see the triple IS4, the triple S-Conk, and the CS63 of Alien. We see him play a lot of these offside tanks now as well, Alien. E3, CS, ban. But obviously, he's made this Goodnight Nomi team a lot better with his experience, I would say. He's definitely, so far for me, the MVP of this team. I don't know how high his impact is on this team, like his contributions, but for me personally, I think he's had a really, really strong showing with them, and I feel like his experience can only have contributed to this increased performance by this Goodnight Nomi team. The only thing I would like to say is that I don't like that he doesn't have an HP booster in the CS63, man.
Yeah, the problem there is that if the batch had high rolls, it's clipped, then it can actually finish off the CS in one clip. Goodnight Nomi now with a fairly standard opening here, I would say. Also good stuff by the S-Kongs, just immediately destroying the houses.
The buildings against a potential cap play. Kubash is not going to A0 this time. For Pozdro, we saw what happened against Tropical. But so far, what I do like here, look, we talked about this yesterday on stream, if you remember, right? I said you can make a trap, I think, on K1, for example, to prevent his I7 from really utilizing the position J1. And if Alien plays it right there and doesn't reveal himself the whole game, Pozdro will assume that he's on A4. If the I7 drives down and Alien waits for him to get to J1, then he's going to be able to shoot this guy in the side the whole time. Like, if Pozdro does not respect the K1 position at all, and completely ignores it, it's going to be bad for them.
I mean, the S-Conk and the IS-7 now exchanging spots, and that is just another layer of that mind game basically going on, because Gursky is saying with that, hey, I want to have and I need to have the information whether an IS-7 is crossing, basically saying, well, I guess there's no one in K1, just, try to come close, try to get into the hold-down fight with me. They do not know, I believe, about the 50B, that is currently in K4
No,
yet.
they don't.
So
they don't know about the 50B, but they're making everything seem. The whole game plan, for what it seems from Goodnight Nomi right now, is make it seem like we have nothing established deep on 1-2 past the S-Conk of Gursky, and defend the north mainly. So it looks like CS on A4, rest of the heavy stacked around C to D line, and waiting for the size 7 to be like, okay. Pozdro does their step-by-step program, right? We see them approach this map in a similar way every single time. They try and take the angles. When they take the angles, they progress into the cap. But for this to really work as well, they need to get, at some point, this IS-7 down, I would say. But so far, he has not pushed down, so maybe they do expect a little bit of a trap. And at least Ilion is keeping his cool. He's not making the mistake of revealing his position. In this case and scenario, Ilion has to stay cool, calm, and collected, and wait. Just wait, and hope that the IS-7 actually commits down.
Now Twist there with a nice connection, it seems, into Timfed, so good stuff by him. And I think Ilion, he has the experience to just stay calm there and do nothing. Also, what is important to mention here is that basically, since Pozdro is possibly suspecting the CS63 to be in A4, they're not going to send up the Batchet along the A line, and even if they do, there is double S-Conk that could just turn around and tag the Batchet for going there.
The good stuff here for Pozdro is that they have now assaulted the cap, and that the IS-7... Oh, the IS-7 is driving down! The IS-7 is actually driving down. That's a very important note here to keep into consideration. You can see Nomi expected this. You can see the instant rotation, the S-Conks through the C line, the IS-4s going through the D line, where Twist and Jordan are. The pressure fed, and now in the meantime, Eden revealing onto DJ, and DJ did not expect this. This is a beautiful counterplay so far, working out beautifully here for the side of Goodnight Nomi. I mean, the IS-7 DJ can't go anywhere, can't do anything. Ilion reveals his position and immediately allows this trap to be sprung on towards him, and now Kubash trying to come from behind with 4 shells still in, and actually maybe not working that well for Goodnight Nomi anymore as they lose Twist. They felt like they had to make a reaction because Yosi and KPRK were pushing on towards Miku, but they lose immediately a tank for that, and they're going to lose maybe another one here. Sokol is now ammo racked. I think he already used his repair kit as well, but still though, they are 5 against 5 here. If they can focus out Conrad, if Sokol can get safe from the other guns, if Marcel can survive, then it is still all possible here for the Goodnight Nomi team. They lose Marcel though. He was a one-shot, and that's kind of crucial because look at it now. Orchek's coming back in. Orchek's coming back in with a 50B clip.
And yeah, he starts to clip out. Conrad does fall, but Jordan unable to shield his body here. Now he does find the 50B that has probably expended most of his shells, but Prokarovka and Yosi coming from the backlines trying to save their comrade here. And now the CS63 and the S-Conk that were doing the that were basically killing the IS-7, they were out of the game for the rest of it. And now we have a 4v2 situation that is gonna unfold after Jordan dies here. He is able to do another shot of damage onto the 50B, but now the S-Conk getting found in the open by Kubash in the bat chat is probably the nail in the coffin here for Goodnight Nomi in this round, as Kubash with very, very good shots on the S-Conk, reducing him to a 2-shot here, and Elian with the CS having no say in the matter whatsoever at all. 1100 HP still on him, but double cap is on, and Pozdro, it looked like they were getting countered, but in the end pulling through and pulling strong here.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of a fail there for the Goodnight Nomi team actually coming out. They wanted to make an instant rotation because I think it was Yosi and KPRK pushing on towards one of their IS-4s, which I think was Miku. But for doing that, they actually drove into a pretty disastrous crossfire where they lost the first guy immediately. Maybe rotating back and pushing back across towards Yosi and KPRK would have been better because they would have had the S-Conk from G1 that would have been able to support them as well at some point, right?
Yeah, Yeah, and Elian missing that last shot on the 50B there, basically admitting defeat, not really taking any evasive action anymore. Gwirsky now down towards a one-shot, and Postro is gonna beat that 9-game streak that Goodnight Nomi had going for themselves. They're actually gonna put the first point on the board for them. The score is 1-0 now, and Goodnight Nomi for the first time ever in the playoff stage, dropping around in this best of 9.
I honestly think they lost it for themselves. When they came around that corner, they had double IS4, double S-Konk pushing on towards, I think it was an S-Konk and something else, but they drove into the 50B from Orchek, and Orchek got a free clip off of that already. I think it would have been better if they rotated the IS4s back north, perhaps, to help on towards Miku's position, because DJ was going to die, right? And then Elian and I think it was Gwirsky could be supporting on towards that location. So if they went back north with those double IS4 and went to cover their Miku, I think it was Miku, I think they would have actually pulled it off. I honestly think the counter here from Goodnight Nomi was superior to what Postro brought, but the reactions that Goodnight Nomi did, at first it was good, swinging around, but then I think they, failed to slow down a little bit and see the opening of going back through that lane towards the double IS4 and just push it with their double IS4. The S-Kongs could probably hold their own for a little bit, or at least send one IS4 back. And then Elian would come into the fight, Gwirsky would come into the fight from the 1-2 lines, because they would have killed DJ by then. And then they would be able to combine the fire onto the backs of those IS4s, because those were completely in the open for Gwirsky and Elian, even when they were killing DJ. And that would have probably won the game, but they decided to make that push. Pushing a hold on S-Konk is never fun. Even less fun when he's supported by a 50B. Even less fun when there's a bad shot from behind also making his clip, who did very well. Kubash there coming behind, making basically his full clip. I think that's where, they just made a slight reaction mistake.
Yeah, so that is 1-0 now for Postro on their map pick. The sides are going to be switched now. Not that it really terribly crazy matters on Ghost Town, I wouldn't say. But yeah, Postro able to pull off their attack here, and we're gonna see if this basically is a dent into the morale of Goodnight Nomi, or whether they have the stamina to just shrug this off and say, well, whatever happens, happens. We're gonna win anyway. It is interesting to see what will come now in the following game. And I believe so far we've had some quite interesting lineups by Postro on their defense. I believe they played with a lot of Super Conks. Let's see if it comes true this time. And yeah, no surprise there. 5 Super Conks once again. Kubash in the CS, Timfed in the IS4. We've seen this multiple
But actually
times.
playing with Profuse now, yeah, in the lineup. Have you seen him before?
I think Profuse didn't play in the first game.
Yeah.
So yeah, Goodnight Nomi here coming in with double B, 1 IS4, 1 277, double S-Konk, and Elian in the CS. Alright.
Goodnight Nomi just needs to reset here. I mean, they lost the first round, yeah, but I think they should also realize that they did do well on that first round, that they had opportunities there, which could have resulted into them having a better opening into this game. Elian does have a HP booster now, though, so maybe it was an equipment preference even. Choice. And look at Elian. He's going with the CS63. Is he trying to spot the S-Konk in the very far back? Conrad trying to drive to A3, but Conrad is taking a very, very wide route though towards the position. Like a very wide route.
Yeah, that
seems like almost he expects that this is a possibility.
Yeah. So Conrad not going to get spotted, not going to get damaged from him, from Elian that is. And now, once again, we see the houses getting destroyed. I guess this is sort of a standard for all of the teams here now, that if you're defending, just destroy the houses. No reason not to. And Postro is now going to have a look at what Goodnight Nomi is going to start doing. And they're sending a 277 that even connects that shot on the cross without having a vertical stabilizer. So
I love it, Jordan. Nice shot, buddy. Nice shot. He takes one in return, a little bit greedy, but look at this, Goodnight Nomi. They're not slowing down. They're going for the straight push, and right now, I would say that the positions here for the Postro team are not all that perfect. Profuse there in his S-Konk getting completely caught off guard, getting completely annihilated even. Those 50Bs making work. As you can see now, they are on reload though. They gotta back off. They got to reset the fight. Jordan and Elian here trying to trade against Conrad, trying to get those connections down. But Conrad's position is so strong that S-Konk on A3 is so hard to deal with. He could possibly 2v1 these guys over here. I don't think they should continue going for this. It's not going to work out for them. Now Marcel's pushing back forwards though. He fancies himself a little bit of Yosi here in his 50B. Peeks the corner, Elin giving a shot from the side, even Marcel picking out. Marcel takes a lot of damage for this though. Misses one of his shots, connects it on the second one though. Goodnight Nomi now, up in one gun, but in return have lost a lot of HP.
Yeah, 2k, 2.5 even up here for Pozdro, and that position that Conrad has there, as you said, it's just so strong. They cannot really commit onto him, because if they do it, he actually has the DPM to 1v2 them here. So they need to look for other openings, for other opportunities. But
are they able to crossfire Conrad though? That's a real question here.
I don't think they really can. I don't think they have the angles in the city for this yet, and keep in mind, if you can shoot someone, then most of the time he's going to be able to shoot back. And DJ still there in the back. He is basically, although he doesn't have direct contact with the opponents, he's basically the anchor, because he can support everywhere. He's not able to bring his HP into the fight, but basically wherever Goodnight Nomi decides to commit, DJ will be able to help.
Yeah, Jordan here against Conrad is eventually going to lose this trade. He has no there's no way that he realistically wins this unless he hits some crazy shots on towards the tanks of Postra, mainly Conrad there. And Conrad at one point is going to hit his cupola when he goes for it.
Alright, Twist getting spotted out here on the 7 line now is going to mean for the team of Goodnight Nomi that they have lost K-line control fully. Kubash even deciding to shoot to reveal his position. And I think Kubash, if he wanted to, he could even make a run for it and go to K0 to take a more
he's doing that
angle.
I think he wants to stay kind of closest to his teammates right now to be able to have cover on them. I would say still though, this extra gun here, pretty useful. Ooh, I mean, I was thinking maybe they could start gapping, but it doesn't look like it. Alien now running away, takes one. Will he die for this? Doesn't look like it right now.
No, I don't think anyone has shots on him, even if he leaves straight while being spotted, obviously. No, he is actually taking the risk, but yeah, no one. Never mind, DJ from the backlines, from downtown, picking him up. That's another gun gone. So in the gun department, both of the teams are now even here, 5 versus 5. But I would say the HP and also the positions, they're just favoring Pozdro. Yes, DJ is out of the game. That is basically the HP difference that's remaining. But Pozdro, they have a lot of health on the tanks that are committed against the enemies right now. It's like they cannot really make a collapse onto anyone, and DJ now even getting pulled.
Yeah, DJ now coming closer towards the middle. Fed is going to peek out, give Mineros one twist. Here wants to give Orchek a shot in return. He does connect a beautiful shot on towards that. Eskung now, Miko, Mineros realizing they have to do something here. They're trying to get Orchek out, but Orchek is no longer really in a position where they can really punish him. And Fed in the meantime is having a field day, just shooting them tanks from behind. I mean, he puts in another shot here now. Mineros, Miko finally deciding that this trade is no longer worth it. But DJ closing the distance in the meantime. Conrad is starting to take the 1v1 because he knows he can win that. He has nothing really to counteract. And now Miku getting another shot as well. And now Fed coming for the finish here. He wants to pick up that lonely Eskunk of Mineros, and he does. And now it seems like the Goodnight Nomi team falling to pieces once more.
Indeed. Postro, Pochwich on their map pick here, holding strong, holding on. Well, they didn't look that desperate holding on, actually. That was just all around good stuff from the team of Pozdro. And once again, that push over the A-line with the 277 and the CS63 against an S-Conk. Just
I'm telling you, man. Okay, listen. Last round, they pushed too far. I think this round, it would have been better if they just kept pushing through.
On the A-line, you mean?
No, not on the A-line. So you have the double 50B going through the north, right? Peek in the corner, killing Profuse, who is in a terrible position. He died for it, right? You have the double tank on A5, right? The CS and the 277. And then you have the rest of the team, basically, the tanks that they had, which is the IS-4, the IS-4, and the double S-Conk, right? If those guys press W and cross over the road, yeah, they will take some damage. But I'm pretty sure that once they arrive to position, combine them and Elian and Jordan onto Conrad, they will be able to kill that S-Conk over there.
Yeah, but they will be in the open completely for DJ to farm them.
No, DJ was not in position to shoot that. He's on 1-2 line. He can't shoot behind that building. You push past the road, Kihan. You push to where the last S-Conk was, like where Yosi was.
Then again, we say that in hindsight, and they don't really have all of the information necessarily available to them yet. So, yeah, I guess it could have worked, but they weren't willing to take that gamble, possibly. So
it's a heavy commitment, though.
Yeah.
But I think Conrad's position then gets crossfired fully, if I'm not wrong, because he's kind of on the back. I think he would die. They would, of course, take a lot of damage for it, but they would be up at least 2 guns, I would say.
I mean, first of all, keep in mind that the 50Bs also need to take out the 2 Super Kongs if they push fast first.
Yeah, but they already killed one. Profus was dead, so it was just Yosi. So if they drive forward, Yosi will expose his position, becomes exposed, he dies. And then together with Jordan, Ilian, and the 3 tanks from behind, they killed the S-Kong from Conrad. And then you have 4 tanks left from Postro, right? They have 2 close to them, which is the IS-4 and the S-Kong, and they have 2 far away from them. The CS and the S-Kong from DJ. DJ can't come into the fight quickly. Postro was very split. I think if they keep committing there, they'll be probably down in HP, but up in guns, and then the 50Bs can come and cover their heavies again. I think the commitment would be correct.
Although I believe that is quite enough theory crafting by us, at least about the Ghost Town rounds, which both went in favor of Postro. We are heading over to the map pick of Goodnight Nomi now that we saw them perform very, very well on in the past match, which is Tundra. And we're going to have to wait and see whether Postro actually has more prepared than Invil Hall of Nitsi for that map, if they're able to maybe pick up a round or even 2. That is going to be the question moving forward, because all of those best of 9s so far have gone the way of 4-0, and then one of the teams not really able to realistically come back. I believe the match is going to start soon, so do you think we're actually going to see one of those 60 TPs, or are both of the teams...
I think Paltrow is one of those teams that actually does like playing with 60 TPs. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring one. I have this faint recollection in my mind of them
and
liking 60 TPs.
There we go. 1 60 TP by Postro being picked. Then we have quadruple S-Conk, 1 E5 and 1 Deadshot. Goodnight Nomi bringing to the table 2 113s, 1 Kran, a 277, double S-Conk and a CS.
Yeah. Again, I don't think we're going to see a straight commitment from Goodnight Nomi. And Postro definitely just splitting the tanks in every position, putting an S-Conk basically everywhere, and seeing what they can achieve with this. But the 60p not really going to the usual position, if you look at it. He's going into the 2 line. Usually you would see him play around D4.
Yeah, the 60 TP now going to F2 means that he will have shots onto the crossing, and that obviously, if you have a big alpha and you cannot reload anyway, even if you're an S-Conk, then that hurts more onto the crossing tanks if you manage to connect your shot. First of all, though, a lot of information gained by Tymfed here for the defending team. That is Postro, because he's using the same position that I believe we saw Marcel in earlier, and that one basically spots the cross towards the west that is there in the south, where we can see the double 113 and the CS currently. And yeah, Kubash now here peeking on turret basically to try and generate even more information for his team. He's just there as the early warning system in the south to sort of generate the info for his team and then run away to set up a possible flank later. So, so far it looks like Postro doing all the right things to stay on track to get the 3-0. Then again, we mentioned it, the attack on Tundra is considered to be stronger simply because the caps are so far apart from each other that yeah, you have to split as the defender, and that is not a thing you normally want to do.
Yeah, not really a thing you want to do, but we'll have to see if Goodnight Nomi has an answer to this defense that is currently being put up by the side of Postro. See Marcel now creeping up against Fed. Fed now, backing off slightly too much, taking 384 to the face immediately. Conrad there as well, though, to cover against Marcel trying to peek this angle. Question is, does Marcel want to trade here? It doesn't look like it's right now. And another good shot there coming out on towards Profuse by those 113s, laying down some sort of crossfire there.
Yeah, and keep in mind the 277 is still on the hill. While it might not be the biggest sniper, it still does have meaty alpha damage with the 490, and the heat sort of makes it that if you hit the tank, you will most likely pen from above. Now here we do see the engagement by Twist and Marcel on towards Timfet. The Kranwagen clipping out is just brutal. Yes, he does respond with an Amarak onto Marcel, but he's able to repair that one and probably just did his last shot of damage.
This is the same position that Goodnight Nomi played, by the way. And we saw how Goodnight Nomi just simply countered it straight. They seem to... They played this similar setup, but not really the same, because Ilian, I think, was pushed up on the rock on d4 when they did this. Conrad seemed to have been slightly further behind than them, and yeah, Fed's position, they're kind of exposed.
And now...
But look at the reaction in return, E5 pushing A-line, but one tank down on the Tundra defense.
Yeah,
South cap completely open.
Yeah, not looking really good. Ilian now being pushed up, and also the Batchat, the early warning system that I mentioned, is gone here, because this looks like Pozdro is trying to go for some sort of north commitment, but you said it earlier as well, if you push north as defender, then most of the times you just lose straight up. And now here we see Orzek already turned to run away here, aiming towards that southern cross that Ilian is slowly scouting out in his 113, going from bush to bush to bush to just generate more info, generate more map control. Twist in his Kranwagen now sort of getting caught out by DJ, taking one shot of damage. I think he doesn't repair his Amarak yet, because if he
Fuel
gets
tank though
tracked,
on DJ. He might not even have his repair kit available. He may have used it against the engagement against Fed. It hasn't been 90 seconds since then.
I remember now.
Sokol is covering though. Jordan rotating, Minero's rotating. They don't seem to be aware that the bat has crossed to A8 though. But if Kubash reveals his position early, then it will be great. If Sokol now goes through A-line, they're definitely going to be able to get Kubash here in relatively easy fashion. Nice shot there from Twist on towards DJ. Now Jordan driving forward. Kubash still on the side though. If he peeks here, he's gonna get found out. He gets found out immediately. He goes back. He still wants to keep clipping Twist though in that batcha, trying to take an engagement there. Is it gonna work out for him though? I don't think so. Twist is now turning his tank, trying to run. Fuel tank damage, no fire yet though. Kubash now is gonna be clipping the second engine knocked out, and now the crossfire coming in. Sokol from one side, Mineros from the other. I mean, Kubash had a good engagement there, got his full clip out, but in the end of the day, they lose DJ, they'll lose Kubash, and now they're just left standing with 4 tanks, which are pretty healthy, but there is 7 tanks from Goodnight Nomi, and only Twist in danger of dying.
Yeah, and we can still see Goodnight Nomi. They have more tanks, but they have more HP as well, so the healthy tanks of Polstro don't even have a possibility. They're not presented with an opportunity to create an overmatch anywhere and realistically can win it. Marcel in the hold down there just locking this side down, and Miku even can side scrape off the rock at the bridge, and we can now see the engagement. Yeah. Oh, nice shot by Profuse in that position even, but as soon as those tanks have crossed in the water, then I guess Goodnight Nomi is just going to snowball it down. They're not looking to go towards the cap. Now Miku starting to get farmed by Profuse, and Marcel also has to back up because Orzek is peeking up. Goodnight Nomi probably screaming for their reinforcements, which are now getting spotted out, and this will mean that Josi should have a field day. Gets the ignite off onto the Kranwagen, but still Goodnight Nomi with more guns should be able to pull this home.
It started to be a little bit close there, right? It started to look a little bit possible. We were starting to get some hope for Pozdro. I mean, I wasn't. You maybe were. But, you know, it was more like Goodnight Nomi was, you know, so far ahead. They just wanted to push them with seven tanks at once, and then they realized that Profuse was going to be incredibly annoying to actually deal with, and they were still flanking from behind. But it was all possible because they were up so far, Kian, at this point. You know, they had already a significant lead in tanks. All they needed to do was to find 1 or 2 more, and there was no way that then Profuse and his fellow friend were going to be able to carry it. And yeah, Twist getting set on fire. I guess that's lesson 1 of World of Tanks. If your fuel tank is damaged, repair it. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty rough, unless you bring a fire extinguisher, of course.
I don't think any of the tanks we just saw were mounting extinguishers, though. But yeah, in the end, Kranwagen first gun, then Amarak, then fuel tank. He really had it coming that game. But Goodnight Nomi now showing that basically their spirits are not broken after being down to 0 now on their own map pick, responding in fashion, putting their first point on the board, and they did so pretty convincingly. I mean, yeah, the Postro tanks did a lot of damage in the end, but 6 tanks still left standing for the side of Goodnight Nomi.
Yeah, 6 tanks left standing. They could have had 7 alive, technically. It was a good start. They really countered out the position there from Conrad really effectively. I don't know if Postro really checked this before, or if it was something that they copied from seeing Goodnight Nomi play it. But there definitely was some positional differences there between how Nomi played it and how Postro played it. Because Eden was pushed up on the rock fully, while I think Postro had a tank behind it. Would it have made a difference? I don't know. I don't think so, because the Crown just came and gave that man a full clip.
Then again, if you have the S-Conk where Elian was in the match before, then you actually have crossfire onto the tanks, and you have another effective gun in the game, because I think the S-Conk that was in the what would normally be the 60 TP position wasn't really able to to support Conrad where he was. He wasn't effectively able to prevent them from peeking, so maybe that was why Elian was pushed up to the rock earlier. Yeah, that is the attack by Goodnight Nomi wrapped up on Tundra. Now we're gonna have to see them defend, which is nominally the harder thing. But so far on Tundra they looked very, very good against Invil Holovnici, the clanmates of the team they are currently taking on, which is Postro.
Yeah. Could have realistically be a different scoreline at this point. Could have been 2-1 for Goodnight Nomi as well, but it is what it is. If they close out their map pick though, and they go 2-2, I don't think that is the end of the world or really bad for them. I mean, they'll have it in the back of their minds that they could have won at least one of the ghost towns. Probably should have won one of the ghost towns as well. It's not a bad thing though. You know, if you're 2-2 and you feel like it should have been 3-1, you definitely feel like you're in control of the match, because they didn't really struggle on this Tundra game that they played right now. They were far ahead. They stayed far ahead. They closed out the game. It was a little close, but they were at no given point actually in danger of losing the round. Now, if they can do that again, that is definitely not comparable to the Ghost Towns, because the Ghost Towns were like, one of the Ghost Towns was pretty clean for Postro, but they could have both been really close as well. So
we'll have to see as we get to see the lineups now. Postro attacking with double 113, 160 TP once again, an IS-7 double S-Conk and a CS to wrap that one up, and Goodnight Nomi on the other hand, 1113, 1277 double S-Conk double VZ, and the Batchat 25T as well. So I guess the double VZ, we're maybe going to see that once again in the 2-3 line to punish the South Cross. That Postro lineup does not look like immediate aggression. It more looks like we're going to feel out what the enemy is doing, and indeed we do see the split by the attackers going on here. Sending a 113, an S-Conk and a 60 TP up towards the north, and the rest of the team south. The interesting note though, they are not leaving anyone on the hill to snipe. And for Goodnight Nomi, sort of a standard split, I would say. And
it's the same split as they had in the other game.
Same positions.
Yeah, but you see, Elian is actually on a different spot than where you could see the tank from Postro play. So I want to see if this is actually going to work out for them, or it's going to be the same result as Postro had, where they just lost the guy at E4 fairly easily.
I mean, Elian theoretically should be able to punish that approach from the lower side that we saw the Super Conk and the Kranbang take, but Postro.
But they also have the VZ there though. Like, they also have one of the VZs watching, so they can give some free damage. Sokol though, taking some damage already in his Banchan. 2 shots taken. You're now on reload, I think, and now Miku watching the crossing here. It's gonna get spotted out by
but I don't
Conrad.
think he has the gun elevation to effectively engage onto Conrad. Not connecting his first shot, at least not
look at
dealing
Sokol
damage.
though.
And yes.
Ooh, nice there from Miku. But now if Sokol is actually fast onto the position behind Conrad, if he's fast enough here, he's gonna kill him for free, Kihan. Sokol's coming, man.
He's doing that. He seems very, very poised to take that. And indeed, we do see him peeking, not exposing his side towards the enemy. That is very important because he knows there's more tanks lurking. Decides not to take the further engagement onto the IS-7, but I think he's done enough.
He sees the CS coming as well.
He sees the CS coming, and he's done enough because now Miku with his 980 alpha has enough damage in the clip if he connects every shot to take out Konrad.
Yeah, Kubash there getting some shots on the crossing. Actually, more shots on the crossing! A big clip there from Jordan. I think Miku connecting one as well, and Sokol now on reload. Actually, does Sokol have one more?
I think
he
Sokol
might actually have one more shot.
Or he's maybe baiting Kubash while he's reloading. Konrad doing one more shot into Miku. And yeah, Sokol, he's trying to do everything in his power to delay this engagement.
Jordan's coming under, man. Jordan's coming for Konrad, 930. Unless he has a bad roll here, he's going to finish off onto Marcel and his Konrad. I don't know how much that was for, because the North is getting overrun here by the side of Bosra. They want to take out those tanks there on that side of the map. Ilian is going to be the next one to get focused out by Orchek and fed. Big damage coming in on towards that Eskong. In return, though, finally the 113 coming back. But has the damage been done here? Because Bosra is now up in HP, and they're going to be up in positions as well, probably in the near future.
Yeah, I mean, Gursky trying to do what he can, but he's severely limited with it because the 277 doesn't really have the DPM to deal with this amount of enemies. Now, the south has been cleared by Goodnight Nomi, but you see the reinforcements from Prostro now coming over the bridge to keep the overmatch in the north and just, you know, keep that aggression that they have going. Gursky taking a lot of shots here for leaving, and the HP, they're not looking good for the defending team. Currently 3k down, and as Profuse has more DPM and also the better engagement onto Gursky right now, he looks very, very strong in this position. Jordan in the VZ now getting pulled to help his help a homie out, but not looking good for Goodnight Nomi.
Kind of surrounded at this moment in time, though. Gotta be honest about it. You cannot forget about that part. Now, Jordan is gonna take a shot, but it gives a big one back to Profuse, though. That BZ55. Big clip, but now they know that he's on reload, though. That is gonna spring Profuse into possibly trying to go kill Gursky. Gursky missing the shot there on towards Profuse. Could have made him a one-shot and double the HP from Pozro. One extra tank as well. Looking good for them.
Yeah, looking good, especially considering only half of the match time has been played currently. Sokol now also getting spotted on the rotation in the bat shot. Does have a full clip available, but that's only like 2k damage, so it's not going to even out the scoreline. Miku now with one of his two shots does not even get to shoot the second one, and now we see Sokol on the flank on the bat shot, but only does get one clean shot off into the 113 because before that one is able to pull to safety. Yozi taking another shot by the VZ, I would guess, but in the end that grinding slaughter that was going on regarding the HP still in favor of Postro, as if you keep trading when you're ahead, you will stay ahead, and in the end, inevitably, you will win.
Yeah, the question here is, did Marcel's Amorak really have a significant impact on the game? I didn't see how much it was for because we were watching the other side. I think one of the 113s left the north hand side as well, which allowed Postro to actually overrun the north in return. Maybe a slight overreaction from Goodnight Nomi. They were doing well, though. I mean, killing Jordan was fine. The CS basically dead as well, but then maybe bringing the 113 back as well was a little bit premature, allowing Postro to overrun Marcel and Ilian's position, which you don't really want to have happen in your Eskongs. They didn't really get that much out.
Yeah, I mean, we can take a look right now at the battle results, where we see that Marcel only got one shot off, and he received 4 penetrations. So, yeah, I guess let's say it was 3 Eskong shots, so that's minus 1200 from 2.7, so you're left with 1500, and then 1 shot by the 60 TP, who I guess got the blow up. So, not that much that he got blow up for, I guess.
Yeah, but still, Kihand, if he survives, he does...
he does at least 2-3 more shots, yeah.
Yeah, so the VZ's having a good game, though, there, but yeah, that 113 not really...
Oh, actually, one shot of team damage even coming out for Morzek.
Might have been at the end, who knows.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 113 leaving there to go help the Sound probably exposed Ilian and Marcel a little bit as well. 277 remained. Outside of that, Goodnight Nomi was doing well, though, but Postro taking the good overmatch onto Ilian and Marcel's position, realizing they would lose the South, because what they were doing there wasn't that good. I mean, they were losing a CS for free. The IS-7 did do some damage, but he was also dead. But yeah, they had to do something. If they stayed there and didn't push over the north, they would simply get overrun later on in the game. So they made a good push.
Yep, that good push. I mean, it was a 3v2, so in the end they just took a good engagement there, and they didn't even allow the 277 initially when they started pushing to have an impact. So that is, in the end, just well played by Postro, who are now up 3-1. And I guess we can take a quick look at the map pick and bans to see what's up next. So yeah, here we go. Next map is again picked by Postro, and it's going to be Prokarovka.
Prokarovka. Between these two, I'm not sure what to fully expect. We saw Postro play it already, if you remember, against Tropical. It was close though. Those Procos were close.
It was
they could have really gone
close,
either
but
way.
in the end they were able to pull through. They did play with an STRV, if I remember.
Yes, who did
correctly.
5k plus damage? Yes.
So we're just gonna have to wait and see if they actually take some different strategies, because the strat, at least on defense, for the side of Goodnight Nomi looked exactly, on Tundra at least, it looked exactly like the one we saw in the semifinal.
Yeah, they just looked like the same. It's not because you don't always have to change the strat, you know. A defensive strat that you are confident that works, that you can rotate with, you can play multiple times.
And then, even then, it might be that they have some different strats drawn up for the same tanks. They just decided to not switch it up because they judged the enemy lineup as to, them not having to adjust their own tactics.
Yeah, sometimes it's just about different reactions. But now, Proco. Okay, 3-1 for Postro. They're looking like Kihan might be right after all, although I doubt it. You never know.
I mean...
ideally, this needs to be a 2-0 map for Goodnight Nomi, because otherwise they go into mines, and you can't guarantee that you win a mines attack. You count on winning your defense, 4-4, tiebreaker Himmelsdorf. Possibly. But yeah, Goodnight Nomi IMO needs to really aim at taking Proco 2-0 so they can go 1-1 on mines.
Yeah, so I'm being informed currently there is one player relogging, so that's why this break is taking a little longer than usual. But as soon as he's back, we should be resuming as well with the gameplay. That is on Prokarovka. I mean, we saw T100s being picked. We also saw some teams not picking T100. Personally, I feel like a light tank is mandatory on Prokarovka, not necessarily the T100,
not necessarily.
But that 13105 that we saw, it didn't really have an impact.
I don't think a light is 100% necessary, because you see some teams just go straight east. Without a light tank, it's possible to be pulled off if you want to. However, most teams will agree that it's better to have one for that intel that you can get with it. Also, just preventing the enemy light from just going super aggressive and spotting everything out in the beginning. Yeah. So, as long as it's not a 13105. I mean, a 13105 is not a bad light, though. It's not a bad light. So it's not a bad light to have.
All right. I believe we're all but loaded into this round here, and Postro is gonna attack first here, and they will do so with a lineup of double IS-7, double S-Kong, double CS, and one T100. So looks very, very aggressive. Postro Pochvich responding.
4 IS-7s.
4 IS-7s.
And that's Kong, CS, and a T100.
They're gonna be attacking. Sorry, yeah. That was me getting confused.
That IS-7s, they could go anywhere, man. They could go middle, they could push the east straight, they could push 1-2 straight even, if they wanted to. The real question for me is going to be initially, what does Goodnight Nomi do with that double CS? Because they need to put them in positions where they can actually have an impact, where they can actually shoot, because obviously they are facing off against 5 heavies, right? So the CSs need to somehow come into the game. And look at Postro. They're going full eastern side, man.
Yeah, indeed. And unfortunately, I would have liked to see it at least once this tournament. There is no commemorative Kazna remembrance push happening, so no 1-2 line choo-choo train. Instead, everyone is booking it towards the ditch in C0, where they will find exactly no one.
You can already see Twist moving towards the rails, trying to get out of spot here. The Eskong's moving as well, trying to figure out the info. Miku getting spotted out. Needs to be careful there with his Eskong. I don't know why all of the tanks from Goodnight Nomi are currently swapping sides. A good damage on towards Orchek though. Actually, I think Goodnight Nomi might actually just try and go for a push here one way or another. That is what it's looking like right now. It looks like they want to push Conrad at some point. Kind of ignore the cap right now, but they need their CSs in the south to show up for this though.
Yeah, the CS is still getting pulled towards that K8 position, but who are they going to meet there? It's a Halda on Eskong, it's Timfet that also has support by Kubash, who is currently farming the tanks that are set up in the middle to repush. So currently Pozdro dealing a lot of damage here, even getting an Amarak onto Twist and not really able to retaliate. Finally the overpush comes in, Twist taking a second critical here, still no damage done onto Conrad. Twist is already almost down and out of the game. Finally some shots hitting the yellow tank in this scenario, but I don't think this was the overpush that Goodnight Nomi was looking for, as currently they're trailing 4k and the first kill actually goes in favor of Pozdro. Now in the south, Timfet is getting heavily punished by Elian, and Minairos in their CSs. We're gonna have to wait and see how many more shots he can actually deal. Going down towards a one-shot, maybe RNG lets him do another one.
No, it's not looking good right now, man. Like, even they haven't killed Conrad, by the way. Conrad is still alive on 9 HP. He's not even dead. 7 tanks, so I'll make it 6 now outstanding from Pozdro. And this overpush from Goodnight Nomi, the idea of it was good, but they took already so much damage before the push actually came into effect. They took so long. The CSs took it's a CS, I know it's super fast, but compared to their heavies, the CSs were miles away from actually reaching it. And before that, they already took so much damage, and then it took even more damage when crossing the rails. And then they didn't even kill Conrad. And even if they were faster, killing Fed would have taken a while. And all that time, Kubash would have just been chilling, been farming, been having a great time, actually.
I mean, we see the last remainder of the team of Goodnight Nomi here now getting found by Orzek, taking another shot of damage, trying to pad his stats a little, some random habits showing, but in the end this should be over now. And indeed, Profuse gets the pickup and secures the scoreline of 4-1, currently secures as well some match points for the side of Pozdro, and now it is up to Goodnight Nomi to make something happen, maybe step up the game a little, who knows.
You're gonna have to step up a lot to make a comeback here. 3 rounds in a row, starting with Prokarovka. Attack first and double round on mines, but I hear Kubash 4k just having an easy pickings on the hill. Twist was the first one that got pushed into...
and Conrad, Jordan, I'm sorry. Jordan having 1500 damage blocked. Let's see Conrad now, because he survived for such a long time. Like, that was... how do you survive for this long? Also, yeah, not all shots penetrating onto him. I guess there's your problem right there.
I mean, it was more than just non-penetrations. It was also the amount of damage they took before they even got into the fight, man. And Kubash's position was superior. He would honestly have done so much damage. They would need to kill Conrad and Fed so fast, then pressure the hill, but in return they would still get pushed back onto the middle, man. This repush here from Goodnight Nomi, all the info was really given to Pozdro. It would be impressive if they actually pulled this off. They would have to push over, kill Conrad, kill Fed, go onto the hill, kill Kubash, and in the meantime somehow hold the middle against the repush coming out from Pozdro. It would have always been hard.
Yeah, I mean, that repush, while it did not look good, I think it was them sort of realizing that in the long run they were going to lose anyway, not only on trades, because basically the CS could punish from the hill always with impunity, but also that if Pozdro sends maybe their T100 or something to the cap, then they would have to make overpeaks sooner rather than later, and so that Pozdro was going to win anyway. So that was, I guess, their last attempt at sort of salvaging the situation. But yeah, that salvage operation did not go as planned, certainly. And now, obviously, they are facing facing off against a team that has taken 4 out of the 5 rounds played in this best of 9. So match point here for Pozdro. We are looking at the possible last map video of this tournament, and I think Pozdro, they will be very, very willing to close it out and take home the prizes.
Yeah, one more round, man, for them, and it's all over. And then Postro is going to be doing what they couldn't do last tournament, winning. And you know, they would love to win, I guess. Not facing off against Holovanitsi, who got beaten by this Goodnight Nomi team. But it's not over. You know, it's the finals, Kihan. You gotta have faith. It starts here for Goodnight Nomi, the comeback, the remontada.
All right.
Just
I guess
Pozro team, El No Sabe.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see. First of all, the lineups: Postro defending with
no lights, by the way, for Goodnight Nomi.
Yep, Postro defending double IS7, triple S Conk, 1 CS and 1 T100. Goodnight Nomi on the other side, 113, double IS7, double S Conk, and double CS. And you know what they say, right? There's one IS7, there's a second IS7, so that's 2 IS7s.
What?
I was just making a reference. Anyway, Goodnight Nomi on their attacking.
What reference? Tell me about the reference. I wasn't fully following.
IS7, that's double IS7. Okay. I guess
I'm kind of lost, man.
Jostra's been just gone too long, right?
He's been gone for too long, man.
Okay.
He's been gone for too long. We can see here the entire Eastern assault coming out for the side of Goodnight Nomi immediately. No SRV, by the way, for Pozro. Keep that into mind. They do not have that available to them.
I mean, Goodnight Nomi taking the eastern side for free, just like Postro just did it. We're just gonna have to wait and see if Goodnight Nomi will be as effective at countering.
I have a poem for you, by the way, Kihan, as well. When Kihan gets in fame, that really means we're at the end of the game.
Yeah, and soon you're gonna tell me fame is in trouble, dude.
I mean, it has been ever since you joined. Coincidence? I think no. I think therefore I am. Anyways, the gap getting started soon, though. I mean, we're gonna have to see how this works out, right? For the Goodnight Nomi team, they are splitting the map. They haven't taken a single shot of damage. Only Orchek took one on the other side. But now, under the rail fights coming out slowly but surely here. I mean, Fed and Profuse trying to make them angles. Usually we see somebody at A0 though. Usually, ooh, they're going to try and do another one over push, Kihan. You can see how... are they going to try another over push? It looked like it, because Twist was starting to close the distance as well. It looks like they want to push something.
Yeah, it look, but like right now, realistically, where and how do they over push?
Middle and A-line at the same time. It's the only way. They take everything. They ignore the fact the enemy team has a T100, and you close out the kills and you just keep going. And they let the T100 be behind you. You don't care. Miku's already getting farmed by DJ in the ass though, so there's that. But now the push has to come. This is the last possible push here for Goodnight Nomi, and already look at Marcel. Marcel dropped straight to 508 HP. Yosi here is going to be the focus for the other tanks. Jordan and Sokol trying to pick him up. Elan's going to have to go up and over as well. Sokol getting focused in return. Miku is dead already. They're trying to focus out the guns here. They're trying to get that double Eskong on A6, but they lose Sokol for it. Now Jordan facing off against Yosi. Elian to help him. Fed, Refuse the next ones, but they're still putting the pain. They're still putting the train into the side of the Nomi tanks here. They get fed, but now the repush coming out again. Conrad Orchek pushing towards the rails. Twist here gonna have to face up against DJ. The HP is kind of close and closing. The Orchek pushing over gets Amarakt immediately. They want to close out the kill on Marcel here. One more shot will do it. Can they get it? DJ in the T100 is actually the one to do it. The Profuse in the meantime falling. Twist still facing off against him. Kubash now coming back in as well, and Nomi trailing in tanks, trailing in HP, and trailing in their chances to possibly win this tournament. They do get Orchek. Elian still laying down good crossfire, but is it too little, too late? As they have just Elian, they have just Twist. Profuse doesn't have a loader though, but Elian doesn't have any teammates.
Yeah, Elian left here to pick up the shambles after Postro Pochvic are gonna secure their victory here. Profuse with 2 crew members left, but as long as the driver's still alive, I guess you can get away from the enemy tank to not get picked up. And now Postro, they are gonna be celebrating as just Elian is here to pad his stats a little longer, but Kubash with a long-range snipe, ensuring that he is now left on a 3-shot. DJ with the T100 celebratory driving in, decides not to go for the ram, but congratulations to Postro Pochvic for a tournament victory that never really seemed like it was in danger.
Yeah, no, this match here in control, I guess, picking up Ghost Town, and then from there on, not really faltering anymore, still losing around on Tundra, of course. But at the end of the day, deservedly winning. So 5-6-1 scoreline, not really close. Could have gone different for the Goodnight Nomi team. But then again, it's also the first finals for a lot of those guys in the Wot7, so maybe nerves were a little bit of a factor here. Can only take this with them, be proud of their achievement of beating Invel Holovenitsi in the semi-finals, and it's still not making it easy for Pozdro getting to the finals, and possibly, potentially, the next time come back and win it all.
Yeah, and
I mean, Pozdro was second last tournament. They're first now.
Yeah,
who knows, dude?
Also,
repeat story.
We'll see. Also keep in mind that basically the first two of the tournament also auto-qualify for the group stage of the next one, so we're definitely gonna see some more of Goodnight Nomi, and I can't wait for that, simply because of what we saw in the semis. That was absolutely astonishing. That being said, Daki, I think we have expended enough of our voices for today, and also for yesterday. I thank you for me having a lovely time casting this tournament with you.
And didn't even roast you that much.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm thanking you. I mean, it's in your nature to roast people, so I appreciate the fact that you didn't go overboard.
I brought out my good side.
All right.
I decided to take it easy on you because otherwise, it wouldn't be very nice. Maybe next time, since it was our first time together, I decided to be gentle on you. But next time, it may not be the same story.
All right. I guess, regardless, thanks a lot for being here. Thanks a lot for being awesome. You know who else is awesome? The analysts, and we're going to have to wait and see what they say about these finals.
Well, thanks a lot, Kian and Deki, for that amazing casting along the weekend. And that's it. We have winner magic. It's going to be Pozdro Podsvic.
Indeed, it is Pozdro, not the Polish team that we may have thought that it would be before this today's matches happened, but definitely a Polish winner, and they showed once again that they are the kings of 7v7. I think we can say it now.
Well, finalists at the last tournament, and now they are winning it. And the replays are already ready. Magic, as you can see, the first round was Ghost Town, the map where Pozdro was really confident. They didn't drop a single round on that map, I think.
No, they did not. Definitely, they had a game plan. They committed DJ Vid actually on the 1-2 line into the trap that Goodnight Nomi set up for them, but maybe Goodnight Nomi was a bit too trigger happy and they went for an overpush on the 6-7 line instead of the 4 lines, where they could have been covered by their teammates, which Pozdro Podsvic ultimately exploited.
I mean, there is a pretty interesting and nice trap made by the CS and the S-Conquer over the 1 line, but the rest of the team was not at the right spots to actually utilize fully that trap, because Pozdro had the opportunity to just push on those tanks around the base 2 and actually compensate the fact they would lose 1 tank. They also got an overmatch that they took themselves, and then they had the better tanks in the right positions, the overmatch, and it worked really well for them.
On Pozdro Podsvic's defense, though, Goodnight Nomi coming in with a straight aggression, Jordan hitting an unbelievable shot there on the S-Conk, and Profus was also caught out kind of in the open by the double 50Bs, as we will see shortly. However, this was not enough because of the A3 position of the Super Kong there. They could not really deal with that one on the Goodnight Nomi side.
I mean, the key tank here for Pozdro is Conrad in his S-Conk around A3. He also gets coverage from the guy around the 1-2 lines, and since they couldn't take him out, they were desperate and they tried to actually overpush on the base 2, but the HPs are talking for themselves. Pozdro, they were confident. They were really impressive on that map. There is not a single round where they actually dropped control.
They do not seem like they are in trouble in this situation as well. On the A line, the Super Conk is winning his duel against the 277 in the middle. The rest of the Goodnight Nomi tanks are in complete crossfire, and Pozdro just winning the round very decisively.
Yeah, great stuff from Pozdro. We expect them to be strong on that map, as it was their pick and their main pick for the whole tournament, not just for those finals. And I have to also add the fact that they probably watched a lot that round Goodnight Nomi had against Holovenitsi, and they realized that they are going a lot for aggressive plays over matches, and they played really well around that.
Goodnight Nomi was very well prepared on Tundra, however, as we can see on this attack. Team Fed is playing a similar position to what Goodnight Nomi's defense has been playing, but Team Fed is not being covered by the D5 Rock Eskong, and that allows for Marcel and Twist to exploit that and kill him for, well, ultimately not for free, but for very cheap price.
Yeah, definitely. Step by step, they actually managed to pick those tanks from Polsro. They were pretty splitted. They had some tanks committed to the north, but no reactions whatsoever, no rotations, not being capable of covering them properly. So, pretty clean and easy round from the side of Goodnight Nomi on that attack. It was one way to actually get back into that match, especially on Tundra, which was their map picked.
Here we can see the final moments of the round where Profus is ultimately encircled by the attacking Goodnight Nomi tanks. Goodnight Nomi's defense, however, presented a much bigger issue for them. In the beginning, Sokol had some free shots over towards Conrad as Conrad committed in, and Goodnight Nomi's team was ultimately converted this into 2 kills. But on the other part of the map, Goodnight Nomi's defense got into trouble.
I mean, great stuff. Here, you'll see the CS crossing taking huge amount of damage so the Bachat can even possibly finish him off. He had 1 shot left, but in return, also they had to make a reaction, and that was over the north. The armor rack on the Eskong of Goodnight Nomi, making it helpful for them to actually gain 1 tank advantage at the north, Ilian being the next focused with the crossfire from Profus, and good stuff from Postro reacting. They were losing the Thals, but they were only losing the CS, the I7, they were rotating with the rest and winning the north, and HP-wise, position-wise, it was looking good. Profus with the advantage, the 1-on-3, better DPM, more HP, could also take his 1v1 with the 277. Good job from Postro.
Postro realized as well on this attack that ultimately they have more tanks on the northern part of the map than the defending team of GNXMI has, going for an overpush ultimately there, which decided the fate of this round, as Goodnight Nomi was kind of focused around the south to pick up those 2 tanks of Postro.
And on that round, this is exactly what I was saying earlier, Magic. Postro completely playing around the fact that Goodnight Nomi is going for those overmatches and having the actual angles working to punish them. That push, they expected it. That's the way Goodnight Nomi played against all of Nitsi. All of those pushes, overmatches, but the CS on the hill, having all the shots available, the fast rotation with the light and the I7s, and the trades, even if Goodnight Nomi has an overmatch, it was not going in their favor. Probably a bit of bad shooting also, because you see this Eskong and I7 still alive. I don't really know what happened there.
The repush coming in as well with full force from the defending side of Pozdro Pochvich, not really asking questions whether this round could have gone either way. I think the questions that maybe Goodnight Nomi has to ask is whether they should have gone for this overpush or not. I think in the next round, the defense of Pozdro Pochvich, Pozdro actually showed how to defend against a push, which is very similar to this.
Yeah, this is very similar actually. They have a lot of tanks around that 6-line triple Eskong, the A7, 1 I7 and CS to cover, and the light over the Thals. So, Goodnight Nomi, they had a plan, they are not changing it, they are trying to get an overmatch and get some tanks down, but they are losing so many HPs, they are losing so many tanks for it. Those Eskongs actually staying alive for a long time, and the HPs again talking for themselves, 3k HP up, defending, and this I7 pretty locked in that hole, cannot really cross back over the rails, and Postro just on time, Tihunda coming from behind, the CS joining, and the HP advantage, the tank advantage, and the experience from that team actually proving that they were probably the best team during that tournament, and that was really clean, and we have to congratulate them for the performance.
Indeed, we have to. I mean, Goodnight Nomi was very convincing against the team of CSA and the team of Invil Holovnici, but maybe they could have run out of steam for the closing stage, for the closing finals here, and in the end, Pozdro taking a decisive victory over their Polish mates. Yeah,
definitely good job to them. Also, really good job for Goodnight Nomi reaching the finals. No one would expect that. No one would have pretty much vote for them. I guess that the guys that made the predictions and voted for Goodnight Nomi against all of Nitsi are pretty full of points now, the channel points. But anyway, again, Magic, Polish domination. It was not the teams we expected. Maybe in the next Wot7 we will be having, there will be an international team, a Czech team, German team that could make it pretty far in comparison to those past 2 tournaments.
Hopefully, we will have a team that is not polished, that is also able to compete on this level. But I think what we have seen now is that you need to actually prepare a lot. You need to know your angles. You need to have a good game plan for each map on each side to know how to deal with an enemy that is defending this way, that way. I think that's the amount of time and work that has to be put into from the international teams as well. I think we've seen now multiple Polish teams putting in that work. I'm waiting for an international or a team of another nationality to also get on this level.
Yeah. Anyway, we are gonna be rating a streamer likely Daki, so you can actually get a chance to keep getting the drops if you didn't just get them yet. And don't forget that you have to claim them on the Twitch drop sections. This is not automatic. That being said, Magic had a really great time along you during the whole weekend. Amazing analysis from your part, and I'm gonna give you the last word.
Thank you very much. Next tournament is the 15v15 tournament. See you guys there.
See you, everyone. Have a nice night.